7:30 over Montreal. Now let's head to Edmonton to find out who their partner will be in the Grey Cup dance.
What a finish in Toronto. Now hopefully an encore in Edmonton. Mother Nature smiling on Commonwealth Stadium. November winter is on hold as a whole city holds its breath waiting to see if the home team plays in the Edmonton Grey Cup. Those are the stakes today in the West Final. Good afternoon and welcome to Game 2 of our playoff doubleheader. The Eskimos and the Roughriders showing us how the West will be won in '97. Edmonton in the playoffs for the 26th year in a row. They are relaxed, and just one win from playing in the Grey Cup they will host. Saskatchewan winning its first playoff game since 1989 last week with the upset of Calgary. Reggie Slack's heroics bringing some wishful thinking on the prairies of that '89 run when the Riders beat Calgary, then Edmonton en route to winning the Grey Cup. It makes for good grist as we welcome Chris Cuthbert and Chris Walby.
Mark Lee, I don't know if we can match what we've just seen script-wise in the Eastern Final, but the atmosphere is here, Chris Walby. It's electric back there. Over 40,000 fans. Saskatchewan Rider pride clearly in evidence. And natural grass, the old turf at the throwback game.
That's the biggest thing. That's the advantage that Edmonton has. Not only playing at home, but playing on a grass field. They understand the grass. They know what to wear. Talking to the Saskatchewan players, that was the big question. What do I put on my feet to get me through this game without making any mistakes?
I worked with you long enough to know where this game starts and finishes on the line of scrimmage.
You only win it on the line of scrimmage, and these are the guys right here from Saskatchewan that will have to do the job. Green, Coulter, Comiskey, Terry, and Mikowski, but especially Coulter, Comiskey, and Green, the big three in the middle, will have to handle Edmonton's front three.
And we know one Flutie's in the Grey Cup game. Will it be another battle of the brothers? Darren Flutie's been great in the playoffs in the past. And if he has another big game, then the Eskimos could be in it. What are your keys?
Well, I think for offense, Saskatchewan, first down production is a key. You can't be in second and long. On defense, change the defensive looks. Don't give them the same look at Danny Max. On offense for Edmonton, get the killer bees in early. First and blunt, let them the ball, let them go crazy. And on defense, keep Reggie Slack in the pocket.
Two teams are ready, and so is Walby. Let's join Mark Lee.
All right, you guys are surely psyched. Our game day analyst is Calgary quarterback coach Danny Barrett. Danny, you know what it's like to prepare for the playoffs, both as a player and a coach. Ron Lancaster said yesterday, the bigger the game, the more basic the preparation. Do you adhere to that philosophy?
I would agree with that. The players have played all year. They know what it takes to get out here to play in a game like today and everything. So keep it simple. Just go out and let the players play.
All right, how about Danny McManus? He gets all the blame when things go wrong, but doesn't accept the glory when things go right. What do you like about him as a leader?
Well, he has that calm demeanor, and he's been in a big game. So I think today he just has to be himself, go out, throw strikes, as always tells the quarterback, throw strikes, and just be yourself and play your style of game.
All right, Danny, we look forward to your comments throughout the West Final. A year ago this time, there was snow on the field and accusations of screw nails in the Eskimos' cleats as they beat Winnipeg 68-7 in the semifinal. But a beautiful day today on a natural grass field. Let's go down to Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Mark. Hi, everyone. In preparing for this Western Final in Edmonton, about the only thing I didn't pack was suntan lotion. Before the day is over, you might need it. In a word, conditions here in Edmonton for the final are absolutely perfect. The wind has just picked up a bit. The turf is still frozen on certain parts of the field. But when you think about what the weather could be like at this time of year in Alberta, it is absolutely perfect. And now it's always perfect in the booth, where the two Chris's are standing by for the opening kickoff. Guys, take it away.
Thank you, Steve. We're underway. The 1997 Western Final. Well, we're off to a full start. And maybe the jitters showing a bit is Sean Fleming, who had a tough warm-up as far as field goals are concerned. Kicks it out of bounds, and he'll have to do it again. Well, there's Jim Daly, the only undefeated head coach in Saskatchewan Roughrider playoff history after his victory last week. And a lot of the pressure off Jim Daly now. Ron Lancaster, a legend in Saskatchewan, the little general. But if he has any special feelings about this matchup, he hasn't told anybody, at least publicly.
Oh, you know what Ron Lancaster has just said? It's another game. We have to play. We know someone's going to show up to play us. It's one game to go. They're not worried about who it is.
There's the playoff hero from last week in Calgary, getting set to lead his offense out. And Sean Fleming heads on the tee again. Cal Murphy directing traffic on the sideline, too. He's been in this position so many times before. Titus Winan has the football. Winans broke the initial tackle and is out to the 47-yard line. And that's where Reggie Slack and the Saskatchewan Roughriders offense will start for the first time today. There were the numbers last week, and he did most of his damage on the ground.
Well, he just turned things that were disadvantaged into advantage, kept drives alive, and he really was a one-man Calgary Stampeder killing machine.
Really the first time in a month and a half that Slack was healthy enough to run the football. He was sore this week after the game against Calgary, but he's 100% today. Saunders' first carry, short gain to the 50. It's a 3-yard pickup, and Melvin Hunter was there to make the tackle.
Well, that's what you want to do. You want to start establishing it right now, and that's what we're going to do with the offensive line. Big John Terry, the all-star, Andrew Green, Coulter, Comiskey, and Mikowski lined up a nice young group. Receivers, Winans, Narcisse, Farley, Mayfield, Sean Daniels, who got a little bit of work last week, and Mike Saunders.
How about Sean Daniels? Not only a great job blocking, but more yards rushing last week than in the entire season. 2nd and 7. Slack throwing complete. Curtis Mayfield slipped on the sidelines, but that's a first down, and Slack has a 13-yard reception on his first throw of the game.
And this is what you want to do. You want to get your receivers in the game early. Run the ball right away. Next thing you know, do a little down and out, outside pattern. Get Mayfield in there. Last week against Calgary, Mayfield had 4 catches in the first quarter. That's what you want to do. You want to get your receivers feeling comfortable and confidence level shooting to the roof.
He was somewhat reluctant to move inside with the injury to Rod Harris, but you see the numbers last week. He played a big role, and it's a first down at the Edmonton 48. Here's Slack rolling right and throwing to the outside. There's Donald Narcisse, and what a huge game he had in Calgary a week ago.
Well, one of the things we're going to do is try and stretch that defense. This is defensive line. Melvin Hunter, McCready, all Canadian, Goods, and Blue. This is a fine defensive line. It's going to put pressure all night on you. Linebackers, Tommy Henry, Bruce Dixon, and Willie Pless, Mr. Present, and going for another MVP season. The defensive backs, Kavis Reed, Rogers, Brown, Beatty, and Malcolm Frank, the underrated, unappreciated corner.
7 for Narcisse, 2nd and 3. Here's the option. And it's Saunders trying to get outside. Willie Pless tracking him down, but Saunders will get the first down at the 35.
This is exciting. Right now, they're going to the right. They're stretching the defense. Reggie's doing little rolls. He's hitting passes on the outside. Now he comes back to the left with an option play. This is what they had success with against Calgary last week. Hit Daniels up short, then give him the option. Put question marks in Edmonton's defensive line.
Saunders carried the ball only 7 times last week, and Ron Lancaster said earlier this week that Saunders would see the football a lot more today than that. Here's Sean Daniels, and just a yard pickup on that plunge.
But what they're doing is smart. What they're doing is flaring Saunders out. They're pulling one of the linebackers out because he's got to respect his pass catching abilities, allowing it to be a little bit of a void. You can see right here, just a handoff straight up the gut. It's a little dive play. But what you don't see is Saunders flaring to the right, taking one of the linebackers out of the picture.
It's been a solid opening march for Saskatchewan, but now Slack looking at 2nd and 9. Over the middle, complete. Saunders drops the football, and Saskatchewan's back on it. And it will be a Rough Rider first down. Titus Winans got on it after Mike Saunders put it on the carpet.
Well, nice job. And we talked about this. One of the things you want to do is get Saunders involved all the way. Not only carrying the ball, as you can see, he's just going to run a little cross right around this. You see him right coming in the middle of your screen right now, finding a hole in the zone. He's in the coverage, gets stripped by Glenn Rogers. But Johnny on the spot, Winans come back, recovering the football, keeping the Saskatchewan drive alive. You can see right here, when it gets cold, this ball gets slippery.
First down, Rough Riders driving. Sean Daniels, and he's down to the 18. Pickup of 4.
And again, they're doing the same thing, Chris. What they're going to do is they're going to give a little look to Saunders. Then they're going to come back with the dive play up with Daniels. Then he's going to do a little bootleg. He's going to create confusion on Edmonton, trying to attack all avenues that he can attack and score.
Well, in the Eastern Final, this is how it started. The visiting team, an impressive opening drive. Yet, the Alouettes came away empty. We'll see what Reggie Slack can do to cash in. 2nd and 6. Like some early movement on the line. Slack delivers to Narcisse, and a flag is thrown. Pass incomplete, but Narcisse was bumped.
Well, you can see Mayfield coming from the outside. He went outside, just did a little cross-in pattern. Narcisse came back inside. Mayfield line of his slot, went outside. And they're complaining that Narcisse did, in fact, get bumped. They're having a little discussion down.
John Ireland is the referee. Donald Narcisse, an 11-year veteran and clearly one of the inspirational leaders of this team.
Forward pass interference. Edmonton number 17. First down.
Derek Beatty, and the drive will continue.
And one of the things I do like about what the receivers are doing is they're putting themselves in such a position that if they can't catch the ball, the defensive backs can't catch it. And what I mean by that is they're shielding the defensive back away from the ball. It's a good job by the receivers of Saskatchewan.
Last week, Narcisse, and the highlight was a 39-yard touchdown pass in the final minute of the first half. First down, Saskatchewan at the 10 and inside to Daniels, and what a playoff story he is becoming. 8 carries, 37 yards last week after rushing for only 31 the entire season.
And the big thing is, look at the big boys up front here. Watch the surge here. Everybody, hat on hat, create a little seam. A good running back will get it. John Daniels is that. He's carrying a tackle, Hunter back for a few yards. Good job.
They're doing this against one of the premier defenses in the CFL. Second down, Slack rolling, and he'll score. Flag down. Slack got to the end zone, and about a yard out, the flag was thrown.
Well, and this is not usually a good thing when you see it. But you see the Saskatchewan felt. Melvin Hunter thought there was a holding penalty.
Defensive holding.
Well, he thought it was against Saskatchewan. He was hoping for it, but it was against Edmonton. Touchdown counts, and that is the way you want to do it. If you're on a visiting team with a wild crowd, I know there's a lot of partisan Saskatchewan fans here, but you want to that's a dream. Take the opening drive down and score a touchdown.
Well, Jim Daly's team has not missed a beat. After last week's win, that looked remarkably similar to the drive that won the game last week for Saskatchewan, capped by a Reggie Slack touchdown run. Here's the convert from McCallum and the visiting Riders. Rider pride in the opening quarter here at Commonwealth Stadium.
One of the reasons you want to run Sean Daniels is because it freezes the linebackers. Watch Sean Daniels right here. All it's going to be is a fake dive. They've been running this play a couple times, freezes everybody, pulls everybody in, allows Reggie to get to the outside where it becomes a foot race and a touchdown for Saskatchewan.
Mike called last week the biggest game of his career, and he's off to an even better start here. 6.5 minutes the opening drive, and here is Henry Williams. And look at Gizmo explode up the middle to give Edmonton good field position for their first possession of the game.
Well, the Giz has been doing this for so many years. He's got the great eyesight, the Wayne Gretzky on the football field. He just finds an opening, and he's got such great, tremendous acceleration. Finds an opening, and bam, instant field position for Edmonton's offense.
Danny McManus to lead the Eskimos attack. Remember, the Eskimos with the bye, so they haven't been on the field since October the 25th. McManus this year, 7 games where he passed for over 320 yards. Out of a scatter formation you see in Toronto, and it's Eric Blunt trying to get outside and nothing doing as Terrell Ulmer moved up to stop him for a loss.
Just a great job by Saskatchewan's defense of stringing it to the outside. That's what you want to do, allow everybody to come up and get your run support. Ulmer comes up, makes a nice stop on the play. As you can see, Danny McManus, 4,099 yards, 22 touchdowns, 19 interceptions. That's a nice ratio for Danny. I know he's taking some unnecessary heat for that ratio.
Well, it's a passing situation here, 2nd and 12. Here comes the blitz, and a throw to Darren Flutie, complete. And Flutie into Saskatchewan territory at the 45. It's such a familiar combination, and it clicks immediately for 20 yards.
And you cannot beat the experience of a wily veteran like Flutie. Finds the seam, sits behind there, just gets behind Todd McMillan. Nice job. You can see him coming under here, just going to check off, find the opening, Ball's on the money, gets up. Tom McMillan has to make the play, doesn't. But Greg Clark is there to wrap him up.
To the ball at the Saskatchewan 46. Darren Flutie with 4 100-yard games in the playoffs. That's a CFL record. Now Eddie Brown has a catch and another first down. Well, it was 37-30 in the Eastern Final. We may have another shootout.
Well, it's going to be a shootout. Here's the offensive line from Edmonton. Thomas Rayam, the West All-Star. Schuldice, Conham, Groenwagen, another All-Star, and Chris Moore's the right tackle. Back to receiver, a good group here. Brown, Blair, Flutie, Robert Gordon, Tony Burse, and Eric Blunt.
Robert Gordon, the unsung guy in that group, coming off his best season, 1,073 yards. First down, Edmonton. McManus with time over the middle. Don Blair inside the 10 to the 5.
Well, they're going to have to make some adjustments in Saskatchewan secondary. All they're doing is running Flutie down and out and bringing the wide receiver, Donnie Blair, in this case, across the middle. They're not switching, allowing him to become free in the middle, gets a catch and turns it up for a nice gain.
The University of Calgary product, 28 yards on that pickup. And now the Eskimos knocking on the door, first and goal at the Saskatchewan 5. There are the numbers for Don Blair this year. He was a little disappointed with them. The Eskimos, though, feel that Blair's made a contribution and could be a future top Canadian in this league.
Well, that's what you want. You want your receiver to say, hey, I can do more. You want him to be greedy and want the ball all the time, because that's a sign of a guy that's going to do good things for your offense.
First and goal, McManus, quick hitter, Flutie, touchdown!
There's the experience again. He just finds him over the middle, a quick dump. They expect them, they have the option to either run the ball or pass the ball. Danny McManus would rather pass the ball. And Darren Flutie, as he's done so many times, finds a little seam right by the goal line. Nice catch, nice throw. Touchdown, Edmonton.
Almost looked too easy, Chris.
Well, the way the two offenses have been going up and down the field, the first two opening drives, it's going to be some points scored, I got a feeling.
Well, that play looked familiar. Shades of 94 and BC Calgary. McManus to Flutie. Jim Daly and the Roughriders scored first, but the Eskimos answer right back. After a 63-yard scoring drive by Saskatchewan, the Eskimos go 64 yards and cap it with the 5-yard pass.
Well, just a nice job of finding the opening. He knows he only has to get across the goal line, the pay dirt line, if you would. Finds it and falls across for the touchdown.
Roughriders drive was 5.5 minutes long. Eskimos did it in 3.5. And here's Shannon Baker. And Baker hit hard at the 31. Tony Burse.
This is Mark Lee with game day guest Danny Barrett here in the booth. This game picking up where the East final left off. Danny and the quarterbacks have simply been perfect. Look at Reggie Slack, 3 for 3, and his counterpart Danny Mack, 4 for 4.
You're exactly right, and I think that's the key for both teams. The offense is off to a good start, and the quarterbacks is throwing strikes and standing in the pocket, so it's going to be a good football game.
Chris?
Sure looks like it. Last week, Reggie Slack directed his offense to over 400 yards. And here's Sean Daniels inside. Third carry for Daniels already. Not much there.
Well, you know, you're only going to get 3 yards, and if you break one, the one thing I like about this play is with the linebackers up tough of Edmonton, if he breaks through that initial defensive line, he's going to go for some yards, and it does beat up on those defensive linemen.
Big Benny Goods, one of the anchors of that Eskimo defense, an all-star again this year for the 5th straight season. Rick Walters has checked in, the Edmonton native, as an extra receiver on 2nd and 7. Pressure on Slack, he'll step up, and Reggie has the first down or more across the 45. That's the element he brings to the table, a 12-yard pickup.
And Chris, you hit on it earlier when you said he's finally healthy. He had his knee was bugging him, his back has been bugging him. He hasn't been able to do all the things that Reggie Slack knows he can do, and this is one of them. Take off. He's about to get, there's nobody open. He's about to get sacked. Takes off, makes something positive out of something that's not there.
Well, it's a remarkable story. This guy retired in '94 because the knee was just too beat up. They discovered some synthetic lubricant for the knee, and he's almost 100%. Here's Mike Saunders finding some room off the right side, up to the 52, a 5-yard pickup.
Well, that's the first time they ran that play. That's just a delayed counter where you bring your lineman from one side of the field across and try and kick out. That's something that Montreal likes to do a lot of with Mike Pringle. And you can see just following his offensive lineman. There's John Terry coming around. He hops over tackle and gets a few yards on the play.
What a season for Willie Pless, 116 tackles, a career high for a guy who has rewritten most of the records defensively in this league. And again, the nominee as the top defensive player in the West. Second down for Slack, under the gun again, and he gets away. More yards for Reggie Slack, down to the Eskimo 37.
Wow, you just can't buy that kind of production right there. That's what you want. That's heart. I played with Reggie Slack, and I tell you, you're talking about a guy that had to go for needles all the time in his knee. They were shooting Teflon or something to keep it coated, and this guy will just do whatever is asked for. He's a consummate player, and in my books, Reggie Slack has always been a winner.
Must still be using the Teflon because none of the Eskimos are sticking to him.
Well, he might have it on his sweater this time, but he's definitely doing a number right now.
Clock running with 3 minutes to go in a wild opening quarter. First down, Saskatchewan. Over the middle, wide open, Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield. And he's that touchdown. He got to the corner. It's a 37-yard score.
Well, I tell you what, this is a great play. What I like, he's just got him coming across the middle, finds an opening again. They're doing the same thing that Edmonton's receivers doing, bringing the inside guy to the outside guy to the inside, just across. And what happens if they don't switch? Somebody's open, and Mayfield was open. Caused a chase position for the defensive back. Nice pitch, nice catch, nice score.
Well, the game has started with the anything you can do, I can do better attitude on the field. And McCallum adds the extra point. So 3 possessions, 3 touchdown drives. Curtis Mayfield finds the end zone. Saskatchewan back on top. 5 plays, 78 yards, the 37-yarder to Curtis Mayfield.
And the thing I like about this is Curtis Mayfield's going to come across your screen, and we're going to freeze it right here. And take a look at this right here. Look at the separation. He found the spot behind the linebacker, Willie Pless. That's what you want to do. Stretch the defense. Nice pitch and catch. That's what you want.
Here's Gizmo. Tripped up that time, and a flag flies. As Gizmo is upended across the 30-yard line. 24-yard return. And we await the penalty marker.
Well, 9 out of 10 times when it comes on a return, it's usually against the return team, and we'll see if it holds.
Illegal block. Edmonton number 34. First down.
Tony Burst. Reggie Slack still perfect on the afternoon.
Well, you got to like it. He throws one of the nicest, tightest spirals. Look at that. There's not even a flicker in that ball right here. Foot race to the end zone right now, and he's just going to outrun Trent Brown.
And there's absolutely no quarterbacking controversy in Saskatchewan for the second week. And it's only been the second week this year.
But that's what a healthy Reggie Slack will give you.
Look at these numbers for the quarterback. Pitch and catch so far. McManus back to work. Looking for Eddie Brown. And Brown looking for a flag. He got tangled up there with Eric Sutton.
Well, I agree with Eddie Brown in this play. It did look like Eric Sutton gave him a little tug when he tried to fake an out move. Well, it's going to be up to Saskatchewan's defense to put pressure on him. And here's Troy Alexander, 10 sacks, Kropke, Van Ways, and Bobby Juristen, the outstanding defensive player, nominee and defensive player.
A rebuilt linebacking core this year. And Dale Joseph, the only guy in that defensive backfield who played all 19 games this year, leading into the Western Final. 2nd and 10 for McManus. And here's Burst out of the backfield. And Joseph there to stop him at the 25. And so Saskatchewan's defense comes up first. to make a stop today and forces a punting situation.
But I like the play by Danny Mack, swinging out, giving the ball to big Tony Burst, 6 feet, 240 plus pounds. Put him in the open field. He's either going to run around you or he's going to run over you.
So the first punt of the game upcoming from Sean Fleming. And the Eskimos leading the league this year in punt coverage. Shannon Baker is back. And Baker from his 42. Across the 50, and he is hit hard there.
You'll never get left out in the cold with MotoMaster, Canada's #1 selling brand of batteries. Available only at Canadian Tire, Canada's auto parts store, made better.
Chris, Wally Buono was saying last week prior to the Western Semi that there are times in a season when a quarterback gets in such a zone, it doesn't matter what you do defensively. Looks like Reggie Slack is in that zone.
And that is all called confidence. Things are working. Everything's working right now. And if they do stuff a play, he comes back with it. And that's what you want out of a quarterback. And that's what makes teams that may be mediocre during the year rise to big heights in the playoffs.
Well, that first game of the day was a beauty. The Argos prevailing 37-30 in a classic, and Mark Lee will talk to the hero Pinball Clemens, who scored the winning touchdown. Pinball will join us live at the half of this Western final. In the final minute of the opening quarter, 2nd down and 9. Slack looking downfield. Narcisse in a real battle there against Kevis Reed, the all-star corner, and Reed comes up big that time.
And I tell you what, he just did a great job. Kevis Reed did of coverage here. Narcisse tried to stop, try to freeze him, and keeps going, picks up the acceleration again, and Kevis stays with him step for step right here. This is as good as coverage as you're going to get. That is excellent coverage.
6 all-stars on the starting defensive unit for the Eskimos, including Kevis Reed, and for the first time today, they forced the Riders into a punting situation. McCallum to kick it, and this is where Gizmo can turn a game around. And Williams up near the 30 and still going, and drove all the way to the 33. So a 23-yard return for the Giz after a 50-yard Paul McCallum punt. That's the first quarter at Commonwealth. It was a beauty.
After 1 quarter of play, it's Saskatchewan in front. You're looking at the Edmonton Eskimos shoe cart, and that's the equipment manager, Dwayne Mandrusiak, Danny Baird, who's already making adjustments to the cleats. We've seen some situations where Sean Daniels had trouble with footing.
Well, that's true, and again, they have to be very careful what shoes they have on, especially for a guy like Sean, who's going to touch the football quite a bit today.
We can tell you that there was frost on this field early this morning before the temperature began to go above 0, so the top of the field appears to be loose.
It is, and again, this time of year, you want to make sure you have the right shoes on so you're not worried about your footing, so you can just go out and play.
Remember 1 year ago, the Eskimos notorious for wearing shoe nails, screw nails in those cleats against the Bombers in the West semifinal. Chris?
And a game, Mark, that Chris Walby was not involved in because of a late season injury.
Yeah, I missed that, and I tell you what, it's amazing all the stuff that came out of that. But look at the first downs here. Saskatchewan, 8 first downs. Yards rushing, 58. Edmonton, they wanted to get the ball into blunt and burst, -1. And the time of possession, Saskatchewan is really using that clock, 10 minutes to 4:54 for Edmonton.
And Saskatchewan with the 14-7 lead through 15 minutes. 2nd down pass from McManus falls incomplete as he looked over the middle to Darren Flutie. And for the 2nd consecutive possession, the Eskimos are quickly forced to punt.
And this is why I think you have to get the running game in there, because right now the linebackers of Saskatchewan are getting depth. And what happens then, if you're going to slide somebody, one of your running backs, across the middle, they're right in front of the linebackers. You want the linebackers up so you release behind them. So I think they still got to get burst and blunt a little bit more involved in that ground game to open up that passing game.
Usually you see defenses start quickly, butterflies on offense. Seems like the defenses are just starting to settle down here. Shannon Baker dancing around. He'll lose yards. Maurice Miller was the man to bring him down. 49-yard punt and a loss of 3 on the return. In the Western Final, the visiting Saskatchewan Roughriders. And the Roughriders are here in big numbers. I wonder if he had to buy 3 tickets.
3 heads are better than 1, they say.
Well, they have invaded Edmonton for this weekend, and they'd like to stay a week. There's a give inside to Daniels, and not much doing there. Let's join Steve Armitage.
Chris, I just talked to the Saskatchewan trainer, and a lot of their offensive linemen are coming off the field. They're going longer cleats. They feel they need the added traction. Chris Walby, you can appreciate that.
Well, big time. One of the things that happens, playing on this field, it's like, I'll make the analogy, it's like playing on a carpet that's laying on a wood floor. You get the good grip in the beginning, and you're sliding after you get to the depth.
Second down. Here's slack to Mayfield, and Mayfield can't hang on. Boy, Curtis Mayfield's been open so far this afternoon. That time unable to reel it in.
But that's the biggest thing. He has been open, Chris. You're 100% correct. But watch the offensive line. The offensive line is giving him the time to throw. That's what's going to happen. You give Reggie time, he's going to hurt you. He's going to let those longer plays, longer developing plays happen, as that one was evidenced by Mayfield downfield open but couldn't squeeze the football.
So McCallum back in. There's Gizmo revving up. Ball bouncing away from Williams. At the 42. Gizmo surrounded and no room to operate that time. A 42-yard punt with the roll from Paul McCallum. Well, Jim Daly said we have to be at our best to win, but they've beaten the best this year. They've beaten Toronto, they've beaten Edmonton, beat Calgary to get here, and Ron Lancaster says they're not here by any accident. They deserve to be here.
Well, they said that, you know, Saskatchewan's record against Western teams this year was 5-5. Edmonton's was 6-4. He said, so anybody can beat anybody on any given day. So that's what he's worried about. He says they did not fluke their way into the final. They earned it.
And the offenses that could do no wrong in the opening 3 possessions of the game are slowing down. Danny McManus was 4 for 4, and he's missed on his last 4 attempts.
And I think one of the things you want to do is change things. Don't start getting into a rut. I think when you first come out, the defenses are tight. They're trying to recognize things. They got a million things going through their head right now. As a result, the offenses can sometimes catch fire quickly, but as the defenses start to relax, they start to recognize.
2nd and 10. Over the middle, complete. Robert Gordon has the catch. Ryan Carey, the safety, the tackle. Gordon claiming there was a face mask, and there is a penalty marker down.
Well, I think he was hog-tied by Ryan Carey, and I think they're going to march up an extra 15 on this one.
17 yards, the pickup for Robert Gordon. You see the numbers on the year.
Face mask, Saskatchewan number 47, first down.
Well, I apologize to Ryan Carey. It was Ron Getz that got the call. But you can see, just comes across. You get a little slip right there. You can see the field slippery. Makes a nice catch. There's Carey, and it is Ryan Carey. And I'll just have to talk to the referees after the game.
Well, Robert Gordon was on a team that won 3 games last year. The Ottawa Roughriders is looking for his first playoff win. McManus now goes to work. Looking for Eddie Brown. Brown, what a catch! And he's down at the 1.
Well, you don't get a moniker or a nickname like Touchdown Eddie Brown for nothing. We saw in the Grey Cup when he caught one off his knee, his foot, and back into his hands, the concentration. And this is another example of this phenomenal catch. Over the wrong shoulder, turns and catches it. Watch this throw. He's flipping, it's looking over the shoulder, it gets touched by the defender, and still has enough presence of mind to catch the ball, get up and then try to at least fight it to the end. Look at that, that is just on the money. That's dropping it into the bucket. That's big play right there.
We've talked about it over the years with Eddie Brown. If he is involved early, he's especially dangerous. A 10-year veteran. And now the Eskimos' Tony Burst trying to punch it in. No signal. And it will be second down. Tony Burst has been almost automatic this year with 13 touchdowns.
You know, Chris, you got to give Saskatchewan's defensive line credit, but I'm not too sure I agree with what Tony Burst is trying to do at the end of that play by stretching up from the back and putting the ball over his head, trying to cross that line. All it has to do is be punched across or punched out of his hands, and it could result in a fumble.
Greg Marshall saying, the defensive coordinator, punched that football. Dan Rashovich checks in to bulk up the line and burst again. No signal except from Danny McManus. And Rashovich celebrates.
Well, these guys are fired up, and if you're going to earn it, you're going to have to do it the hard way. They've tried to. They went to the right. Nothing happened. This is a great job. Look at that. You can see Leo Groenewegen get pushed back. You can see Rasmus. You can see Gary Sutton. That's what you want out of your defense. Don't let one guy make the play. Gang tackle him, baby.
Dan Rashovich, 36 years of age, a 14-year veteran, and now third and goal, and the fans on their feet at Commonwealth. McManus, keeper, won't get there. Tossed it into the end zone, but the play was dead.
Well, Chris, you just talked about Dan Rasmus making the play last play. Look at this. He reacts. Danny Mac makes the dive play inside, hoping to suck the linebackers inside, hoping that defensive line will pinch. Instead, they stay with their people they're supposed to cover. They don't get fooled. Rasovich goes outside. Danny Mac has no option but trying to beat the run. Watch this. There's the fake. You can see Keith Gary goes with the fake. But watch out, it's corner of your screen. You're going to see not everybody was fooled. And there they are. They stop, and Rasovich is there. Sutton is there. That's what you want.
Rashovich, one of only 4 Saskatchewan Roughriders that was there in '89 for the Miracle Run. So the Riders take over on downs from their own 1. Dangerous territory. Slack looking deep, looking for Winans. He has him. Glenn Rogers, the only man there. Winans trying to get by him, and Rogers saves the touchdown.
How do the tides of emotion work? You just saw that. Saskatchewan's defense, 3 plays stopping him on the 1-yard line. What does Reggie Slack do? He doesn't get conservative on the 1-yard line. No, he goes back. He's got confidence in that O-line and that fullback and throws a bomb to Winans. Now they are in scoring position.
Winans with great speed, 81 yards. It's a late addition to the Saskatchewan team. Originally a 3rd-round draft choice of Washington.
And the play of Winans is the fact of why Ron Harris is not in the lineup.
Harris was ready to return, but Jim Daly didn't want to upset a roster that provided the win last week. There's the sack, a huge play by Leroy Blue. Stopping Slack back to the 40, but there is a penalty marker down in the defensive backfield.
Well, this is one of those penalties you hate to see, or sacks. You can see McCoskey's got him, but if your
Illegal
quarterback...
contact on an eligible receiver. Edmonton number 13, first down.
Boy, when things are going right, they're going right. But in McCoskey's defense, if a quarterback's going to scramble and your tackle doesn't know where he's going to scramble to, a lot of times you'll let that end take the outside. Sometimes, though, as Leroy Blue did in that case, it'll put him right in line with the quarterback.
So Tommy Henry is called on the play. That negates the sack, and the ball now is at the 18-yard line. That's Kevin Mason, the backup quarterback, on the headset. And Reggie Slack calling the plays. 5 receivers in the set for Saskatchewan. Here's a pass for Narcisse coming inside, and he caught that in front of Derek Beatty.
And that is just a nice job. You can see Farthing, the slot back there, staying with this. This thing is working for Saskatchewan, so they're going to do it. Narcisse just going to come back inside the middle. Farthing's going to go to the outside. Good coverage by Beatty, but tremendous concentration by Narcisse holding on to that ball. You can see they're all over him. That is just great hands.
Narcisse, not a huge factor, surprisingly, against Edmonton this year. Only 7 catches. That was a 5-yard pickup. So it's 2nd and 5. They fake to Walters. Slack gets away from the initial rush, but throws it incomplete. Heat was turned up by Melvin Hunter.
Well, this is what you want to kind of do. You want to bring pressure. You get down in the red zone or the scoring zone. You want to come after Reggie. Give him some different look. They bring a little bit of a blitz. Looked like there's a little mix-up here. Looked like he wanted to hand the ball off to Walters there. Didn't take the ball. Maybe it was a fake boot. But anyway, it was a broken play. And I think Reggie did the great thing to have the presence of mind to get rid of the football.
Well, we expected to see a lot of pressure on Slack today. 14 sacks in 3 games by the Eskimos against the Saskatchewan Roughriders during the regular season. Now McCallum comes in to attempt the 20-yarder. And Paul McCallum puts it through. So at one end, the Eskimos stopped on the goal line. And the Roughriders come back and add to an emotional goal line stand by Saskatchewan. There's the inspirational leader, Bobby Jurison. You knew he'd be fired up for this Western Final.
Football is a game of emotion. And today the emotion level will be higher than it was last week. The guys are fired up. We have nothing to lose. We're the underdogs. They were the champs out of the West. They're hosting the Grey Cup. All the pressure's on them. We're going to go out there and let the chips fall where they may, and hopefully we're on top at the end.
The only thing he's got to lose is that hat, Chris.
Well, the hat, and I think he needs the playoff money to buy some razors.
Here's Gizmo, and he leapfrogs up to the 45. He looks like he's poised to break one today, but that's nothing new.
Well, you see those eyes, they're determined. He'll do whatever it takes to get at least good field position, and he does it time and time again.
29 yards on that return. And an injured Saskatchewan Roughrider, Vincent Donaldson, is down.
Well, this will be a big blow. I think he's a tremendous cornerback, and what I like about his is the run support. He comes up and punishes the running backs. He's had a hard time. He's had a hernia operation. He's missed a few games, but hopefully he's okay.
The hitman, Vincent Donaldson, getting attention, a 7-year veteran of the Saskatchewan defensive backfield.
And you can just see he comes in here from the left. He gets caught in a sandwich, and you kind of hope that's just the wind knocked out of him. I mean, when you're coming against a guy like Giz who's got all that speed going up on him, and the fact that Vincent did have a hernia operation earlier this year, and you're not really fully recovered. I mean, yeah, you get the staples out and stuff, but if you take a certain shot, if you stretch your abdominal muscles a certain way, there's always the risk of re-injuring in that, and we can only hope that that's not what happened.
Card out quickly, and Jim Daly is going to have to make an adjustment in that defensive backfield. 4th-year man Patrick Burke has checked into the Saskatchewan defensive backfield. It's been ravaged by injuries this year. Burke, one of 11 DBs to play for Jim Daly's team as they are getting Donaldson onto the cart.
Mark Lee with Danny Barrett, our game day analyst. Danny, as an offensive coach, what do you say to your quarterback here? You go right after Patrick Burke.
Well, I think you have to take a look over there. He's stiff. He's been on the sidelines now for a quarter and a half, and he's probably going to be a little tentative in his coverage. So you want to probably put Eddie Brown or Don Blair over there and see what he's up to.
And what kind of experience does Patrick Burke have in a game of this magnitude?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, this may be his first game of this magnitude. So, again, he's going to be a little tentative, so you got to see if he's ready to play.
Chris?
You can tell that Danny Barrett has been in that. I think he's licking his chops down there.
I think he's being very polite. I think that's the first thing he's going to look at right now, and he'd go after Patrick Burke right away.
Well, Burke checked in. He conferred with Ryan Carey and with Bobby Jurison. And here is Don Blair on the flanker screen, and Blair into Saskatchewan territory, a 14-yard pickup, and he's had a couple of key catches so far.
And anytime you get the ball on a guy like Blair, here's a nice Canadian receiver out there, just a quick swing pass, get the boys out in front of him, but the other receivers do a tremendous job of blocking. You can see him roll blocking, cut blocking if you would. Eddie Brown with his man. That's what you want to do. If you're not going to catch the ball, at least get in the way and allow the opportunity for the receiver to find a seam.
Under 6 minutes to play first half, and Eric Blunt on that reverse, and he's dragged down by Gary Rogers. And a loss of 3 on the Blunt run, and it's been a problem for the Eskimos all year establishing a running game. When I asked Ron Lancaster, can you run today? He said, well, if we don't early, we'll just go straight to the passing game.
And I think he just said that in jest. I don't think you can strictly live off the pass, because then your defensive team can just sit in certain situations, sit in certain coverages, and take away all of your bread and butter pass plays. You have to be able to run, but you got to give credit to Saskatchewan's defense, and I think the addition of Ron Getz has really helped them in the linebacker corps.
Second down, 13 for McManus, and a knockdown there. Big defensive play by the middle linebacker, Greg Clark. Check in with Steve Armitage.
Chris, the news on Donaldson is not good. He has a torn patella tendon, and that means he won't be back in this one. So for Saskatchewan Roughrider fans, the news is not good. A torn patella tendon.
So the hitman has taken a hit, and that's a tough break for a long-time Rough Rider. Fleming on third down. The punt angling out at the 19-yard line. So the Edmonton Eskimos are down by 10, just a 34-yard punt by Fleming. And Reggie Slack would dearly love to pad this lead. But this is a veteran Eskimo team, Chris, and they are quite capable of coming from behind. 14 Eskimos with 5 years or more experience, 8 over 10 years in the CFL.
Well, they know there's 4 quarters to a football game, and they don't panic just because the score's this way in the second quarter.
First down, Rough Riders. And Slack guns it downfield. Narcisse could only get a hand on it. Incomplete. Trent Brown there, the safety.
Well, you wonder how long it's going to take for the Edmonton defensive backs to recognize this. They've run it time and time again. We've talked about it. All they're doing is lining the slot back and sliding him out to the corner of the field and bringing the wide receiver across the middle and hopefully catching Edmonton in a bad switch or a banjo situation, allowing one man to come free. And that time the ball is just a little off, or I think Narcisse might have had it.
Second and 10 for the Slack attack. 4 receivers right side. Here comes the rush, and they get to him. Melvin Hunter had 3 sacks against Saskatchewan in the regular season and nails Slack there.
Well, I tell you what, I've played against this defensive line for many years. There's not many changes in it. Leroy Blue will line up wide. Melvin Hunter, your backside. These guys just keep working. You don't hear a lot about Melvin Hunter, even though he was an all-star again this year. But they just come time and time and time again. And if you're an offensive lineman, you better not take a play off.
So McCallum with the breeze in his face from his end zone. And the ball will bounce near the sidelines and out, so no return for the Gizmo. But Edmonton has the football. Gizmo's trying to cut into a 10-point Saskatchewan lead. Eric Blunt with the carry. 4-yard gain inside the 45. John Kropke with the tackle.
Well, this is what you want. You want to come after him. I said you got to start running the ball, but look at Saskatchewan here. Watch this. Good pressure from everybody. They're just coming. That's what you want to do. Don't give the offensive line. I know we've been talking about how good of a job Saskatchewan's O-line has done, but cause some confusion for them. Make them think about what they're doing.
Quick hitter from McManus falls incomplete.
And Eddie Brown is beside himself. He felt it. He's not liking what's taking place right now. He wants the ball. He's sitting out there. They're playing off him. He's saying, give me the quick hitch. Let me get in the open field. I'll do it.
They didn't go after Burke as we thought they might have, at least not right from the get-go.
And I agree with you. I think that's exactly what Eddie Brown's saying.
So 2 and out for the Eskimos, and Fleming back into punt. Much better punt. This one into the end zone. Baker scrambling back to get it, and he'll concede the single. I think in a perfect world, Fleming was trying to get that one out to the Coppin corner. Instead, it's a 50-yard single, and now a 9-point Saskatchewan lead.
Aaron is a champ, a member of the War Amps Child Amputee Program. He visited the Sky Dome to present the CFL with the Play Safe Award. Aaron knows what it means to play safe. He lost his leg in a lawnmower accident.
Thanks, Aaron. The CFL is a proud supporter of the War Amps Play Safe program. Aaron, do you have a message for the other kids watching today?
Safety is no accident.
So play safe. Play safe. A gorgeous November day for playoff football in Edmonton. The hometown Eskimos trailing Saskatchewan here late in the first half. Beginning tomorrow night, Grey Cup Weeks begins on CBC television with the first of our 5 Grey Cup Classics. We'll start with the 1962 Fog Bowl. Those games picked by you, the fans. And now we're asking you to write in, call us on the internet, and give us your top 10 plays and top 10 hits, and we'll show those at the half of the Grey Cup. Chris?
Reggie Slack in trouble again. Down he goes. They're starting to get the slack. Very good.
Well, I think it's time that Reggie Slack starts going back to what worked before, and that means running the ball. Get Saunders and Daniels involved again. I think when you start throwing the ball, you can see Benny Good's just working right there. His feet are just moving like little pistons. He's got him going, and he can't get out. Has the presence of mind to just wrap him up and trip him, but that just comes from throwing the ball and starting to be a little predictable on offense.
Haven't seen Reggie take off with it in a while. He did that successfully on the opening drive. Looked like Blue jumped the gun, was offside. Free play, looking for Baker downfield, incomplete.
Well, I got to wonder about that play. I mean, it was a nice throw, but Baker and Saunders running side by side down the left side of the football field, and I don't think that as receivers or running backs you want to be that close in proximity to each other, so I think there's a little bit of...
Outside, Edmonton number 89, repeat second down.
But it was a free down, so I guess you want to go for the glory, but I still think they want to get that worked out so you can spread the field and not be concentrated in one area of it.
There's Leroy Blue, and clearly he was ahead of the snap. Blue's first playoff game was the 89 Western Final loss, and boy, that was so heartbreaking. You almost wonder why he didn't change his number, because it's a constant reminder. 2nd and 13 now for Reggie Slack. And again, pressure, and boy, he's nailed. Derek McCready and Malvin Hunter had a little meeting at the quarterback.
Well, you know, and this is one of those times that Carl Coulter does a good job on Derek McCready, keeping him on the line of scrimmage. You can see him right there. He's doing a good job. The pocket collapses from the outside, but because Coulter's done such a good job on McCready, he's still there. And what happens, McCready's in there, able to come back in there and lay a crunching on Reggie Slack.
Malvin Hunter's done some celebrating in this first half. 9 sacks during the regular season. Only the Argos had more sacks than the Eskimos. McCallum punts it away. Good punt into the breeze. Here's Gizmo from the 40. Sizes it up and unable to find a crease. Ron Gitz with the tackle, and we're going to rejoin Mark Lee.
And Chris, coming up at halftime, we will talk live with Mike Pinball Clemens in Toronto, where earlier today the Argos defeated the Montreal Alouettes 37-30 to win the East Final on Clemens' thrilling last-minute touchdown. And we'll also have first half analysis from Chris ×2.
Wonder if Pinball's caught his breath after that dramatic win. What a scene in the Eastern Final.
They just find a way to win.
Eskimos down by 9 as Danny McManus goes to work late in the first half. Eddie Brown, no catch. Ruled incomplete. With 1:39 to go, and not much of a dispute from Mr. Brown.
No, he just went down the side, coming in the middle, curl, little cool route, little deep one, about 18 yards curl, comes back to the ball, just a little underthrown, gets his hands down, almost gets it, but as you say, goes back to the huddle without any type of objection. Just skip it right there.
Bobby Jurison, the man who calls the defensive sets for Saskatchewan. Fire in those eyes. 2nd and 10. And that one almost picked off. Ron Getz knocked it down. And the Rider fans celebrate another big defensive play.
Just an excellent play. This is what you want. We talked about Getz. I think he's been an incredible addition. Coming back from injury, coming back, he gets great depth, and the thing about him, he's smart. He recognizes formation, he recognizes routes, sees Gordon's coming inside, he sits deeper than he would normally, gets a hand out there and bats the ball down.
And McManus in another 0 for 4 skid, completion-wise. Fleming, and it's Curtis Mayfield back at the 15. Here's Mayfield, finding some open room, no flags, and no one will catch Curtis Mayfield. The Superfly has a touchdown. Mayfield and Jim Daly's team in a commanding position with 1:15 to go in the half.
Well, the offense is kind of stagnated in this game, but what happens, somebody else got to pick it up either on defense or special teams, and that's what happened on that play. Mayfield returns the punt, finds a seam, and with his speed accelerates right through it like they're standing still, and no one's going to catch him in a foot race to the end zone.
How many times have we seen the Eskimos here at Commonwealth Stadium on a Gizmo Williams punt return take control of a game, but here it's Mayfield. 85 yards, and Saskatchewan is up 24-9.
Just an unbelievable return. He finds a seam, avoids the tackle, cuts back in across the grain. That's what you want to do to allow your blockers to help you. Finds a seam, and he's gone. I mean, he's looking around. There's nobody in the picture. That's how wide open he is. 85 yards, a touchdown, and I tell you what, Saskatchewan, they're not pitching themselves. They know they belong in this game, and they're going to, I tell you, the people that better pitch themselves are the Edmonton Eskimos.
95 yards is the official on the touchdown. Look at those Green Rider fans celebrating, and I want to get the score right, 24-8. It was a 9-point lead. Now Jim Daly and company up by 16 with 1:15 to go in the half.
And last week against Calgary, Slack hit Narcisse for a touchdown just before the half. They gave him some more momentum going into halftime, and they know, get through this half with this score, play good defense. You only got 30 minutes. 30 minutes, and we used to break that down by plays. Maybe you got 30 plays coming against you on offense or on defense to go to the cup.
They kicked the ball away from Gizmo. Bobby Gordon letting it bounce down there near the sidelines. Boy, Saskatchewan got down there and almost picked up the loose ball. That's McMillan flying down there. He took Cal Murphy out. Cal's already been knocked out once this year in Hamilton. Not a tougher guy in the ballpark, though, is there?
Well, I tell you what, you're right. Cal's taking more shots, and you can see him right there. And, you know, he's got fear. He just panicked. He's going, not again, not again. I just got the cast off my arm.
Illegal kickoff. Saskatchewan number 4. Re-kick.
The amazing thing about that injury in Hamilton is it didn't knock him out of the game. He was back for the fourth quarter.
Well, we talked before the game, and he still talks about it because his bones have not healed properly. He's got a bit of a bump underneath the wrist because they can't put a pin in there. The bones are a little too fragile. But he was so scared about hitting his head in those dugouts in Hamilton. They're all concrete. So he said, you know, I turned my head the last second. Otherwise, it might have got me in the temple.
21 straight playoff years for Cal Murphy. I mean, you think he's enjoying this a little bit more than last year at this time.
Yeah, it was ugly last year, I tell you that. There was not a crowd waiting for us at the airport.
Cal laughing it up and maybe telling Jim Daly to put him in, coach. Well, this time it will be Gizmo. Boy, would he love to answer back. Finds some room. Gizmo still going. And into Saskatchewan territory. Green and gold need a little jolt. Gizmo might have provided it. A 42-yard return. 66 seconds to go in the first half.
Well, I tell you what. Look at 89 here back. Last meeting between these two teams. Touchdown pass. Fair home. You don't think he's excited.
Jim Gregory, the victorious coach, and they go on the week later to the Grey Cup game for that classic
One of the best of all times, really.
Absolutely, and we'll be seeing that now. 62. Were you on that Bomber team, the Fog Bowl team?
Don't let the hairline fool you. I'm not that old. But I tell you what, you're right. That was the only game. The reason I liked that game was the only game played over a 2-day period. And I think that's great when you say, okay, guys, we can't see each other. We don't even know where you are. Go home, get in the hotel. We'll see you back at the park tomorrow.
That's Chris Zarka shaken up on the last kickoff return. Reserve running back is on his feet. And the rookie looks like he's going to be able to continue.
Well, this is a big stand for Saskatchewan's defense right here, and a big opportunity for Edmonton's offense. One of these guys have got to start making some things happen, and Edmonton right now has been stagnant. They've been trying to throw the ball. They haven't been very successful since the first couple opening drives. They've got to put something together and get some kind of points, whether it be a field goal, something positive to end the half on.
Well, if you think about the come-from-behind games Edmonton's had this year, especially against Calgary, you know they're capable. McManus has weapons like Flutie and Brown. Let's see where he goes. Looking for Eddie Brown. And tied up by Patrick Burke. Draws the flag, and not much doubt about that.
Well, Danny Baird said he'd look at him. Danny McManus takes this advice. He goes downtown to Eddie Brown. Burke, as you said, is over him. He's trying to grab him, jostle him a little bit. You're not allowed to touch the receiver.
Forward pass interference. Forward pass interference. Saskatchewan number 38. First down.
And they got him. You can see it right now. He's going to give him a little thing. He's going to run for him. Eddie Brown's going to turn it up a little bit. You cannot put your hands like that on him. They're going to call it every time.
Turns out to be a 26-yard penalty against Burke. First down at the Saskatchewan 20. McManus looks there again. Touchdown, Eddie Brown. Well, Danny Baird called it, and they finally go to downtown Eddie Brown.
Well, we saw him, Chris, come off the field a couple series ago. He's very angry. He says, throw me the ball. I got Patrick Burke. As Danny said, he's cold. He hasn't been in the game. He hasn't started for a long time. They gave him 2 plays in a row. He got an interference on the first one, comes across, gets a nice catch on the second one, and he saw Patrick Burke go over and talk to Ryan Carey after the play, as if to say, where were you? Was they supposed to get some support in the middle? And we saw before he went on the field, after Donaldson got hurt, go over and actually have a conversation with Ryan Carey. They're trying to get it worked out, and even as we walk off the field, you can see they're talking to each other.
There was a real discussion in the end zone with the Rider defense and the officials about a no call on a taunting by Brown, and you saw Ron Lancaster have words with Brown as he went to the sidelines.
Well, you got to have a guy like this. You got to use him. You got to try and exploit the weakness. And I'm not going to say Patrick Burke is a weakness. I'm going to say he hasn't played a lot. Because of that, he will be the weaker link in that defense and go after it. Danny Mack does and hooks up with Eddie Brown twice. And they're going to have to fix it, or it's going to start leaking badly.
Well, they say that Eddie Brown now, the complete package. It used to be he just rely on his blazing speed, and now he can work a DB, and we saw good evidence of that.
Oh, big time. Comes inside, ball is thrown right where it has to be. Beautiful catch, right as he's cutting into the end zone on the angle, going for the goalpost. That's what you like to see on your receiving quarterbacks.
18 seconds, a couple of plays, and the Eskimos get right back in it. Shannon Baker fakes the reverse. Now reverses field, and down he goes. Mark Fairway on the tackle. 13-yard return. Coming up at halftime, there's Pinball Clements. Congratulations, Michael. See you in the Grey Cup next week, and he's standing by to talk with Mark Lee at the half. 51 seconds away.
Oh, what a great ball player he is. I mean, he just does it. I mean, a minute left in the game, you give him the ball, you never know what's going to happen with that guy, and he did it again.
Well, final minute, 51 seconds. We'll see what Saskatchewan can do. Sanders inside. Now kicks it back out, and Tommy Henry was there. Tackle at the 26 limits the gain to a couple.
No, this is almost like a delayed counter. They used to run it where the running back would take a jab step the opposite way he's going to go. Watch Mike Saunders right here. Takes a step. Now he's going to come back and fall. It's a little late in timing. It's not as crisp. It's not as fluid as it should be. And I think as a result, it allows people like Tommy Henry, Willie Pless to come in and make their play.
Timeout's been called by Saskatchewan. And Slack has gone to the sidelines. What an atmosphere here today. The fans all wearing green.
And I love these things. These are great. Those are helmets. They're having a Rough Rider team helmet sale back in Regina. A couple of those guys bought them. Look at these guys. The melon heads, that's right. Melon heads, cheese heads, we got them all.
You'll be butting heads with some of them next week. Grey Cup week here in Edmonton.
Oh, they're great fans.
2nd and 8, that timeout was by Edmonton. They want the football back again. Here's Slack, and he'll take off. Flag goes down. Slack has the first down, but this one's likely coming back.
Late flag after Reggie Slack had passed. But as you said, it is a holding penalty. Not only will it negate the run, it'll put him back 15 more yards.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 68. Repeat 2nd down.
Andrew Green, the big rookie guard, in just his 6th CFL start. And Jim Daly sending in Rick Walters with the play.
Well, you can see right here, he's going to hold right here. There it is right there. He's just wrestling him down, and you're not allowed to pin a guy. That's a good move in the wrestling arena, and WWF officials might sign him, but it's not going to work on a football field.
Andrew Green, 6'3", 304 pounds. Well, 2nd down now and 16. Reggie airs it out, looking for Narcisse. Some bumping there. Kavis Reed, step for step.
Well, we've seen Kavis Reed, the other side, Narcisse, both sides of the field. He is just step for step. This is a guy that Ron Lancaster says they didn't even know if he spoke. He doesn't say a word in practice, but he comes out and he has just works and works and works. He's got great team ethic, and he's so happy that he got his first Western All-Star selection, because the fact is, when you're a guy that's not noticed, you're not vocal, a lot of times you're overlooked by the media.
Tied for the CFL lead in interceptions with 7. Danny McManus is going to get another chance here. Gizmo Williams, Don Blair are deep. McCallum took a couple of steps before kicking it away. That was an adventure, and a no yards call. And that'll be 15 yards. So the Eskimos right back into scoring position here. So the 16-point lead in danger of evaporating quickly.
Well, if you're...
No yards. Saskatchewan number 45. First down.
If you're Saskatchewan, you don't want to start playing conservatively. They have the last couple times. What's happened is they've had to boot the ball, kick the ball from deep in their own territory. Now they're giving Edmonton an opportunity not only to try for 3, but maybe go for 7 again.
So a 2-play touchdown drive by Edmonton. Eddie Brown the catch. The defense comes up big. The no yards penalty. And now the Eskimos have a first down at Saskatchewan 35. 24 seconds on the clock. McManus over the middle, almost picked off. Gary Rogers.
Well, we mentioned Getz before. We've seen Greg Clark. All 3 of these linebackers. Saskatchewan, that is, feels they have some of the finest linebackers of up-and-comers in the league right now. And all 3 of them. And that should have been intercepted. I'm sure he's going to have nightmares about that one. But every one of them, from Greg Clark to Getz to Rogers, has batted ball down, or in this instance, had an opportunity because of their depth to intercept the football.
Well, remember, this team started. Greg Marshall had Lamar McGriggs and K.D. Williams, and then had to change horses in midstream. McManus over the middle. Whoa, big hit, but Robert Gordon hangs on. 12 yards and a first down with 15 seconds on the clock. Remember, the Eskimos used their timeout on defense, so they're into the hurry-up.
This is unbelievable. This is great. And Greg Clark tackles. Watch McMillan. McMillan comes in there with the forearm. He's trying to jar his head and the football loose.
First down, McManus looking outside. John Blair, and that one skipped on its way. Incomplete. That took 6 seconds. Time for one more for McManus before they look to Sean Fleming.
He just tried to throw it outside, get him one-on-one against Dale Joseph. Unfortunately, the ball skips there. Can't count that.
Oh, we're just getting warmed up for Grey Cup next week. This could be a full week and a half party here in Edmonton. 2nd and 10. McManus looks to Brown, now has to go the other way. Into the end zone, and this one's picked off. That's a big interception to negate some points. Eric Sutton on the final play of the half. And so the Eskimos unable to cut any more into that Saskatchewan lead. After 30 minutes of football at Commonwealth, the Roughriders lead by 9.
The CFL on CBC. Brought to you by Bell. Connect to the things that matter.
At halftime in Edmonton, it's a beauty. Saskatchewan ahead of the Eskimos 24-15, the West final, living up to the standard set earlier today in the East. And what a thrilling come-from-behind victory for the Argonauts, who beat the Montreal Alouettes 37-30. The Argos now coming here to Edmonton, bidding to become the first back-to-back Grey Cup champion since the Eskimo dynasty years of the late 70s and early 80s. And joining us live from the Sky Dome in Toronto, the man who scored the winning touchdown for the Argos in that exciting final minute, Mike Pinball Clemens. Mike, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
What was going on in your huddle in that final minute? Was there calm or was there tension?
Pretty calm, and I think you noticed that Doug called his own number a couple of times in that last minute too. He moved the ball out, got us around midfield with a couple of quarterback draws. He has a knack for one to make the play and giving you a calm and a peace, even amidst some quite a bit of anxiety there at the end.
You guys are amazing. You know, most of the season you were winning by blowouts, and you haven't really been tested like this. What does it tell us about your team?
Well, you know, we're fighters, I think that's for sure. But I think it may tell us a whole lot about Montreal, too. They are just an excellent, excellent ball club. It gave us all we could handle today. We're very fortunate to come out with a win.
Mike, tell us about the final minute and the play that, the pass that you got from Doug Flutie that ended up being the game-winning touchdown.
Well, it's a play that we call quite often, but I'm not often the primary receiver on the play. Doug distributed the ball, got it to me, and I made a move, and I got around. I couldn't see the free safety there, so I kept looking. As you noticed, I tried to clutch at the ball. I just didn't want to fumble the ball, didn't want to strip it because I knew we were in field goal range. I just didn't want to lose the ball, but there was all this green turf there, and just happened to score the ball. It was wonderful.
Now you got a chance to go to the Grey Cup for the second year in a row.
Yes.
I was talking to Robert Drummond about this. He says it's very important for you guys to become the first back-to-back champions since Edmonton.
Well, I think it's important maybe later on in terms of the historic sense. But more importantly here is that, you know, we had a great season and we went in with the idea of wanting to win the Grey Cup, getting back to the show, and anything short of that would have been a disappointment for us, not just because we won it last year, but because of the effort that we put in this year. They are two distinct years, and we still have to go out and perform every weekend, and now we got a chance to be in the show, and what a feeling it is.
Mike, I've got a buddy of yours with me here in the booth. Danny Bear wants to have a word with you.
DB, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Mike. First of all, congratulations on an excellent ball game today. And I just want to find out, especially for the fans across the country, you got involved in the game plan early, and then they went away from you. Were you 100% today, or was Montreal doing something to keep you out of the action?
I was 100%. I think they were certainly doing a lot of good things defensively, obviously, to us, and stumped us a bit. But we thwarted ourselves sometimes, stalling our drives, making mistakes and that sort of thing. But Doug just gets the ball to whoever's open and whoever he feels like. And you know, in the first quarter, a couple times, in the very first series, it came to me a couple times right away. And I got a couple times in between, and then at the end, he came to me again. But he just does such a great job of distributing the football. And we have so many people that can make plays and that sort of thing. You're just happy when it comes to you.
Well, Mike, you're all too modest. Congratulations on being the hero in this one and helping your team come back to win in the East Final.
Thank you very, very much.
We'll
I'd like to thank our fans for coming out today.
The Argos defeating the Montreal Alouettes 37-30 in the East Final. We'll come back with the West analysis after this. What they hope is a remake of the '89 Cinderella season, leading the Eskimos 24-15 at the half. Our coverage of the Grey Cup begins next Saturday at 4 Eastern with the Grey Cup Parade, followed by a 1-hour pregame show with Brian Williams. And then, next Sunday, the 85th Grey Cup Championship itself, beginning at 5 Eastern on the full CBC network. Great football game here at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. Let's go upstairs for their first half analysis, and here's Chris and Chris.
Mark, Reggie Slack said earlier in the week, I don't want to hear about 1989, but I'll tell you what, that first half looked a lot like the Western Final 8 years ago.
Well, you know why? Because there's only 3 guys from Saskatchewan that actually still on the team right now, different players, but what they're doing is, it's an exciting game. They are doing things to Edmonton that is causing Edmonton some stuff, but the problem is Edmonton is starting to recover now, and I think Saskatchewan is going to have to go back to what worked early in the first quarter. You can see right here, watch Reggie Slack, opening drive, fakes the dive to Daniels, what they were doing early in the drive, scampers into the end zone for a touchdown. They started off early against Calgary last week, and they're doing the same thing against Edmonton. And here, a big play, a great play by Saskatchewan's defense, not falling for the fake, coming up, stopping Danny McManus on a 3rd and goal. But of course, don't ever count the Edmonton Eskimos out, because watch this. The big downtown Eddie Brown, little curl in route right to the end zone. Danny Mac hits him on the numbers, touchdown, keeps him in this football game.
I think it's interesting to note it's a 9-point Saskatchewan lead, and 2 turnovers by Edmonton cost them 10 points. 1 on downs to the goal line, and then that interception at the end.
Well, and that's the big thing. Danny Mac had some pressure. Saskatchewan did put some pressure on him. He tried to force something. Sutton came up, made the interception, killed the drive. That's what you want to do. It gave Saskatchewan a little bit of lift going into the second half right now. Let's see what happens, because it's only 30 minutes of football left, and anything can happen in one half of football.
Saskatchewan with the lead, but we thought Eskimos' defense was starting to turn it up late in that first half. So Danny McManus and the Eskimos getting set for the second half, Mark.
Grey Cup, and right now Edmonton in tough to break that trend.
It's the dawn of the new frontier. The landscape in the world of trucks is changed forever. Ram and Dakota put Dodge on the map. Now with the groundbreaking sport utility Durango and the only extended...
Well, Edmonton's defense did a great job toward the end of the second quarter, and luckily our defense got the big stop at the end. We have to get the ball upfield. We have to be able to establish an outside run game. And we're going to pound Sean Daniels again in the middle and make them stop that, and we've got to get outside and we've got to get upfield.
Jim, good luck in the second half.
Sounds like Jim Daly wants them to get back to what we saw in the first drive or two.
Well, you want to get them outside to stretch the defense. Right now, everything's coming up between the tackles. They want to get outside, get Saunders outside, stretch that defense, open up the holes for Daniels if he wants to do an up-the-gut play, and then it allows Reggie Slack to do a little bootleg, a little rollout, gives the opportunity not only to throw the ball, but to run with the football.
Well, let's check the Canadian Tire stats at the half. Those 2 turnovers, as I mentioned, could be 10 points.
Well, it could be 10 points, but give Saskatchewan credit. They had the big goal line stand, and that's what I think is a key play so far. They're even in first downs, yard passing pretty even, 61 yards rushing by Saskatchewan. I think that was most of it in the first quarter. I think they're going to try, as Daly said, to start real establishing that in the second half here.
During the regular season, these 2 teams almost dead even statistically in their head-to-head battles. Second half underway. Shannon Baker trying to find some room up the sideline, drilled out of bounds at the Eskimo bench. So Saskatchewan gets their hands on the football first to start this third quarter. Let's join Mark.
Danny Barrett, you had a chance to look at this first half. What do you think happened to the Saskatchewan offense when it went dormant late in the half?
Well, I think they started to throw the ball too much on first down. They needed to stick with their run game and reestablish the line of scrimmage. So hopefully they'll be able to do that here in the third quarter.
All right, we'll see if that turns out. Chris?
These two teams battling for a chance to play here next week against the defending Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts. Reggie Slack, quick hitter, and that's complete to Winans. Short gain at the 45, gain of 5.
Nice tackle by Frank. Good coverage by Malcolm Frank. And we talked about him earlier in the broadcast. You don't really hear a lot about Malcolm Frank. They feel he is an all-star and all-Canadian. But the fact is that nobody really goes after him. So you don't really hear about it, and therefore he's not recognized.
So 5 on the pickup by Winans. 2nd and 5. Slack looking the same way. Goes back to Winans again at the 50. Wrapped up and thrown back, and it'll depend on the spot. This should be close, but I think they are a few inches short.
Well, just a nice job by Reggie Slack right here. Flaring Saunders outside wide, bringing Winans inside, just gives him the ball quick. Hopefully he finds a seam or breaks that first tackle and he goes for more yards. Good job by Willie Pless making the play and limiting it to 3rd and short now.
10th time in his career he's been named an all-star. 12-year veteran Willie Pless, and we'll get a measurement and a little more time for Jim Daly to consider his options.
And I think that's remarkable, talking about Willie Pless. When you think about some of the guys that have played here over the years, the Dan Kepleys, the Danny Basses. I mean, they have legendary linebackers coming out of Edmonton. And for Willie Pless to be 10 times named a CFL All-Star and 4 times MVP Defensive Player of the Year and could be 5, it's just remarkable.
You name those linebackers, you got to be a Hall of Famer to play middle linebacker. And there's Bruce Dixon, who got one of his first starts in the CFL last year in the Grey Cup game, and now has taken over for Larry Ruck. Alongside Pless, great linebacking core here in tradition with the Eskimos. So it is 3rd down and about a foot for Reggie Slack. And Dixon got a shot in on the quarterback, but Slack should have enough to move the sticks.
Well, he'll get the first down, and I really like what Reggie Slack did. He went in a long count, trying to draw off the defensive line offside, and he's changing his voice. He's bobbing. Watch his head here as he's snapping the snap count. He's just trying to get the Edmonton defensive line to jump. They hold. The offensive linemen are poised. There's like a wild spring just ready to explode. They hold. They follow him and get a first down.
Ball on the Saskatchewan 51-yard line. Slack rolling right and in trouble, and down he goes, buried back at the 45. And look who hunted him down again. 3rd sack of the game for Malvin Hunter, who had 3 in the regular season against the Roughriders.
Well, we talked earlier about this defensive line. They're going to keep coming, and I think the big key is Leroy Blue at the top of your screen. The reason to get Melvin Hunter gets his sack is Leroy does not allow Reggie to get to the outside, makes him pull up. That's what you want to do. The backside defensive end chases him down and makes the sack.
2nd and 16 now. 4 receivers left side. Rush on again. Slack can't get it away. Well, this sack attack is really starting to dominate.
Well, I want to tell you what happened here. This is a young offensive line. Yes, they got talent. Yes, they're strong. But watch down here at the bottom. They're running twists. Leroy Blue and Benny Goods are running twist routes, what's causing confusion between the offensive line. Who stays on who? Do we switch it? That's what you want to do to a young, inexperienced offensive line. They did it successfully there.
McCallum punting it away to Williams. Makes the reverse. Flag goes down. Gizmo still going. This one likely all for naught. Paul McCallum won't get him. But ironically, the man who was clipped is the man who ran one back earlier, Curtis Mayfield. touchdowns in his CFL career, and
well, the Giz can't believe it. He's going, not again. Deja vu, as you said, more times than he's in the end zone legally.
Illegal block. Edmonton number 13. First down.
Tommy Henry on Curtis Mayfield. And it negates an 80-yard punt return for a touchdown. Well, Gizmo still getting over it. The 80-yard punt return for a touchdown called back on this clip.
Boy, you can see right here, Tommy Henry just gets the hands and the helmet on the backside of Mayfield, pushes him in there. And the bad thing is, here's Henry to Giz Williams going, oh, not again. You got to be kidding me.
From the 20, Danny McManus gets it outside quickly to Don Blair, and Blair has a first down up to the 35, 15-yard pickup. His third catch of the game.
And one of the things I like about a veteran club such as Edmonton is they never get down. You mentioned this earlier when Saskatchewan had the big lead. They just keep plugging and plugging and plugging away. We saw it on Thanksgiving against Calgary. They're never out of the game until the final whistle goes, and I like Danny McManus as that kind of quarterback.
Boy, Gizmo about to explode down there. Can't wait for another chance to get his hands on the ball. Shotgun, looked like the Eskimos jumped offside. McManus wide open, far side of the field is Flutie. How'd he get so open? And Patrick Burke wrestles him out at the 42 of Saskatchewan. But there was some early movement there. Looked like Tony Burse jumped the gun.
Well, you're quite correct. Eagle Eyes Chris Cuthbert up here. But on the other side,
procedure, Edmonton number 34, repeat first down.
And you want to know how it got so wide open? They're doing the same thing they did on this side of the field. All they're doing is bringing the wide receiver, Eddie Brown, inside and sliding Darren Flutie to the outside. The defensive backs are not communicating, not switching. As a result, one comes free, and it would have been a big gain by Flutie.
Negates a 32-yard Flutie catch. Here's how McManus has mixed it up so far today.
Well, the big catch by Eddie Brown for the touchdown.
First and 15. And there's a catch. And Robert Gordon, for the second time today, takes a jolt after the reception.
And Danny Mac does a nice job of throwing his ball right on the money. It's right on a rope. It goes right to Gordon. Gordon goes up to get it. But I'm still wondering, a lot of times on these receptions, there's other receivers really in the same proximity. As you can see Eddie Brown going right there, and I don't think that's what you want as a receiving corps.
So 2nd and 4 for the Eskimos. At the Edmonton 41, out of the backfield, Tony Burse. And he's a tough guy to bring down. Burse will have the first down. The big fullback gets 6 and moves the sticks.
Well, that's what you want to do. Give the big man the ball in the open field. And you can see Eric Sutton. He's just kind of pitter-pattering. He's waiting. He's saying, oh, God, oh, God, oh, God, here he comes.
236 pounds.
John McMillan misses him here, and you can see, oh, boy, here we got to go.
And Sutton, 178.
You don't want to make a living as a DB doing that all day.
First down. Now Blunt. And Blunt straight up the middle. Some positive yards there for the Eskimos, who haven't had many on the ground today.
No, they haven't, but this is what they got to do. If they want to open that inside passing game up and not run the same routes all the time and get Flutie and Gordon the ball, they've got to get those linebackers not to get as much depth, and this is how you do it, by handing the ball up there, and you can see Blunt in the offensive line coming off and getting some positive yards.
9 yards rushing today for Edmonton, last in the league. It's hard to believe with the Eskimo tradition on the ground. Last in the league running the football this season. McManus short drop, and there's Gordon. And they're into Saskatchewan territory, and Gordon doesn't want to go down.
Well, this is what a veteran quarterback like McManus will give you. He recognizes what Saskatchewan's doing. They're playing a zone. He's just hitting them. Gordon goes down 5, 6, 7 yards, finds an opening, bam, gets hit with the ball, either gets positive first yards or he gets more after the catch and gets a first down as he did in that play.
Well, Now it's Saskatchewan's offense watching as Edmonton starts to dominate the time of possession. First down, McManus, a lot of time, looking deep, looking for Eddie Brown, and it falls incomplete. Patrick Burke in coverage.
Well, that's got to make you feel better, because I think he's going, no, don't come my way again. The first two, he got hit for a pass interference and a touchdown. This time he does a good job running stride for stride with Eddie Brown, who is not the easiest man to watch in this league.
In case you've just joined us, Vincent Donaldson down in the first half with a knee injury, and now Burke into the game to try and collar Eddie Brown. So it's 2nd and 10 for the Eskimos. McManus getting a lot of time. There's Brown on the near side and catches that in front of Sutton. 13 yards, the Eskimos drive still alive midway through the 3rd quarter.
Well, he knows where to go. If he goes to Fluid, if he goes to Gordon, he's going to the inside guys this time. Eddie Brown just comes out, comes back in, hooks inside, just enough for a first down. Quick pitch and strike, gets the catch, tackle immediately, but gets a first down.
Ball at the 36 of Saskatchewan. Danny McManus is heating up. Give to Blunt. And Eric Blunt to the 31 with 5 more. And if they can get 5 from Blunt on first down, it makes McManus's job easier.
Well, the biggest thing is you got 2nd and short or 2nd and mid-range, and you can open up your whole playbook. You watch right here. Nice job by Conop on Kropke right there. He gets it being blocked. You got 5 yards. You're 2nd and 5 right now. You can throw, you can run. It opens up your whole game.
Eric Blunt had one big game this year, 145 yards against Winnipeg. 2nd and 5. McManus looks outside, and Blair has the catch. Drilled out near the first down stick by Sutton.
Well, I don't know what's happening right here, but I tell you what, Sutton, I know he's a rookie cornerback, but he's playing off Donnie Blair. He's giving Donnie way too much room, too much respect. You can see right there, he's 5 yards off him, gets the ball. He's expecting to get hit 5 yards before he moves.
There's a look at Rod Conop, the 16-year veteran center of the Eskimos, who extended his career for this season because the Grey Cup game was in Edmonton and he thought it was worth a shot. Here's Blunt again on first down, the 11th play of the drive for the Eskimos as the clock is getting chewed up in this 3rd quarter by the green and gold.
Well, I tell you what, you want to be a lineman on both either side of the ball. Watch this. Edmonton's going to come off right here. This is what it's all about, people. They're going to get man on man. Try and knock. You see face masks cracking. I tell you what, and if you're in cold weather, you put those helmets on. Go get a hard hat from the garage and run into the drywall. That's what it's like when you hit somebody.
Not one of those watermelon deals.
Not the melonhead one.
Over 6 minutes on the drive. McManus gets away from the initial pressure, and Blair drops the football. And they're still laying off Blair, but that time he dropped it.
Yeah, he dropped the pass, but he was open. If he hadn't dropped it, he might have got some positive yards with it again. Danny eludes the pressure, steps up into the pocket, puts it where it should be. Donnie Blair should have this, and he knows it. Kills the drive, but one thing I think he's going to go, the offense is going to say, hey, we moved the ball effectively. We used the clock effectively. Don't get down. We'll get 3 out of this, hopefully. Wait till we get the ball again.
Here's Sean Fleming to try a 30-yarder, and you said he had a lot of trouble in the warm-up.
Well, before the game, he missed 7 in a row, and I don't want to put the hex on him.
But he has missed here.
And I want to thank you, Chris Cuthbert. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate mail from his family right now.
No.
The Royal Family, a huge media product.
Usually play the way you practice, and obviously Fleming was having some trouble, and it continues.
Well, you can see right after he kicks it, his head goes right down. He's not happy. We watched him in pregame. He missed 7 in a row. He shook it out there. He's trying to work it through. It's all mechanics. They'll tell you it's all mechanics. Kind of like swinging a golf club, and he's just got to correct it right now because they might need him again.
And remember earlier today, Terry Baker 0 for 3. Mike Vanderjagt didn't miss. And Montreal's lost to Toronto in the Eastern Final. Saunders battling for yards on that carry. Still, it's an 8-point Saskatchewan lead, but despite the miss by Fleming, you get the impression that the momentum late in the first half and now here in the third quarter is with the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, I believe it's up to Saskatchewan right now to try and change that momentum, and they've got to do something with the ball.
Slack goes to the shotgun on 2nd and 8. This time he has good protection, but throws incomplete. Looking for Shannon Baker. That's the first pass thrown in his direction today.
Well, he does not look as good throwing the football in this play as he did. He started off like hot as a firecracker in the first quarter, and you can see he's got nice time, nice protection from the O-line, but he just skips it to Shannon Baker. And I think what he's going to tell Shannon is, I want Shannon, please, come back to the football.
Benson Donaldson now is a spectator.
And the other person there, Darnell Small, the linebacker's not dressed.
Rush on, McCallum is hit, and a flag goes down. Gizmo dropped the football. And Giz, are you going to return another one that won't count? Unbelievable. McCallum with the tackle, but it didn't matter anyway.
I don't think Giz wants to look up and see this flag right now.
I think that might have been the distraction. As he got to McCallum, he saw the flag and said, oh, gee.
Contacting the kicker. Edmonton number 38. First down.
Errol Martin with the hit on Paul McCallum.
Well, they're going for the block. They're just going to come up to see him and go for the blitz. You see Jed Roberts, after he's kicked the ball, you can't touch him. Now, I know kickers are somewhat of actors. There are a lot of them who go into Shakespearean plays after they finish their career, and that's what you got to do, though.
We tell him Troy Westwood.
He's an actor. He's an actor, I'm telling you right now. I won't lie about that. But in all honesty, we make a joke about this, but Saskatchewan's going to have to improve their coverage teams. They cannot rely on penalties to stop the Giz.
Tell you what, that was a heck of a tackle by Callum. First down on the penalty, and Reggie Slack goes to work looking for Farthing, and he hasn't looked in that direction very often today. Incomplete.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm a little surprised about, Chris, and that is we have not seen the big play man, and that is Curtis Mayfield this half. They have not gone to him yet. They haven't gone to Donald Narcisse this half. It's almost like he's trying to spread the wealth, go to people that he hasn't gone to earlier in the game, and I know you want to get him involved, but if you got something that's working, don't fix it or don't correct it. Stay with it.
Slack only 1 for 4 in the second half. 2nd and 10 from the Saskatchewan 47. Better protection, and that one behind Farthing, incomplete. Glenn Rogers Jr. there defensively for the Eskimos.
Well, they're coming up. They're going to get in Danny's face. They're going to try and get at him right now. You can see him right here. Here's Melvin Hunter at the bottom. They're bringing guys on twists. Leroy Blue is in there. Initially, though, Reggie Slack has time to throw the football, but he is trying to force the football into Dan Farthing's hands right now, and I think he should be looking at secondary or third receivers. Mayfield, Narcisse, get these guys that are classified game breakers back into the flow of the game.
There's Don Blair with Robert Gordon back, and Gizmo Williams sits it out. And it'll be Gordon from his 27. Robert Gordon trying to get outside, but can't do it. Todd McMillan with the tackle after a 36-yard punt. Here at Commonwealth Stadium, where the Saskatchewan Roughriders have not won a football game in 5 years. They have an 8-point lead, but the momentum right now appears to be with Danny McManus in the green and gold. First down for McManus, goes back for Don Blair, and that pass falls incomplete.
They're going to try and do it. They've gone 3 times in a row to Donnie Blair because of the very fact that Eric Sutton is playing off him so much, giving him room. They're always going to be guaranteed at least 10, 11 yards on a first down, keep the momentum and keep the football. But I'd watch for Sutton to see if he's baiting him later in the game and try and break on one of these footballs.
Second and 10 for the Eskimos at their own 30. McManus over the middle. There's Flutie with the catch. And Darren Flutie down at the 42 by Terrell Ulmer. One Flutie in the Grey Cup game already. Will it be another rematch of the brothers?
There we go again. And again, another nice throw by McManus, another nice catch, but 3 receivers around at the end this time. And I'm just a little confused. You can see Van Way standing in front of Greg Marshall, not allowing the offense to see the defensive signals being sent in. A little bit of secret play, a little I Spy in this game.
First down for the Eskimos. McManus works from the shotgun. Looks at the sidelines, and Flutie there again. 17 yards, McManus to Flutie, who was the favorite receiver during the regular season against Saskatchewan.
Well, he's just going to go out and up. He just turns up on Terrell Ulmer, comes back to the football, knows where the football is. Ulmer loses it, but has enough presence of mind to make the play and limit the gain. But that's just working together. That's just Flutie and McManus going out before practice, after practice, and throwing patterns.
89 catches during the regular season, 1,303 yards, 9 touchdowns. Another outstanding year. Tony Burst, they swing it out of the backfield. And Burst hit at the 44 and 6.
Well, they are staying with the exact formula, almost the exact script they just did when they ate up the clock the last drive and didn't come away with anything on it. A little flip pass right here to Burst, put him one-on-one. Just kind of go up, and Sutton, who had to make the play last time, does it this time to get some help from Getz. But what he's doing, he's mixing his calls, and he's spreading it around.
Should be the final play of the third quarter. That ball knocked down at the line of scrimmage. And that will do it. We're through 45 minutes of football in the Western Final at Commonwealth Stadium. Saskatchewan leads by 8.
He is good in only 1 of 3 attempts this year. What do you think of this one here?
Well, it's an interesting call here to go for the field goal now outside the 50, considering he's 1 of 3. So we'll see what happens here. It also sets up a position for Saskatchewan to get the ball in good field position going into the fourth quarter.
And considering Fleming shanked earlier from well within his range, consider this stat as the game moves on and kickers become all that more important. Outside of the 30-yard line, Fleming has missed 30% of his field goal attempts. Chris?
Well, Mark, it's 3rd down and 4, and the little general on the sidelines has been known to, well, he could use a fake in this situation, couldn't he? Let's see if Fleming's kicking away. He is. Plenty of boot into it, but he misses again. And Mayfield, after a little hesitation, runs it out. And Mayfield will step out at the 19-yard line.
Well, a lot of people would have said, why doesn't he just give up the point and take the ball on the 51-yard line? But they don't want to give up that single point. They want to keep that 8-point margin. At least if you get a touchdown, you got to go for 2 points to tie the game. See the stats right here. The big thing, net yards 198 for Saskatchewan. They had great yards the first half. Edmonton, the last 2 drives, has just been eating the clock and gaining more yards. But unfortunately, the last 2 field goal tries have only come up with a 1 point.
Chris, net yardage for Saskatchewan, though, in the third quarter, 0. 13 yards, and then 13 yards in losses. So it's gone stagnant for Reggie Slack and the Saskatchewan offense, but here's Mike Saunders with a hole, and Saunders gets outside and is out of bounds near the 39-yard line, and they needed that, the 20-yard Saunders pickup, and that's a name we haven't called much in the second.
No, we haven't. Get your big boys back in the game. These are the guys who are going to take you to the cup. You got the offensive line does a nice job. You got Winans downfield making a nice block on the DB, but you want to put the ball in Saunders' hands, not only receiving but running it, and it also gives your offensive line some life. They want to get back in the game. They want to start knocking heads and get out just doing pass sets.
14 minutes from a berth in the Grey Cup game for one of these two teams. Slack, Hunter, ball down. Roughriders get back on it, but Melvin Hunter has his 4th sack of the afternoon.
Well, I tell you what, if you're going to run a little bootleg away, you better put somebody backside on your blind side. They don't. Now this play, if you're going to go out there, you better get rid of the ball. He doesn't. As a result, Melvin Hunter comes, blindside shot, kill shot. Reggie Slack drops the football, but thank goodness for Saskatchewan fans, John Terry is there to recover it.
6 for the Eskimos today. That's 20 now in 4 games against the Riders this season. 2nd down, Slack. Saunders can't bring it in. Malcolm Frank there in coverage. Saunders was in behind. Frank recovered.
Well, let's give Mike Saunders some credit here. He had to twist his body in all kinds of shapes and ways to try and attempt to catch this football. Yes, it hits him in the hand, but he's going backwards, and he does have coverage by Malcolm Frank. But again, Saskatchewan has to punt, and they need to start using the clock, especially in the 4th quarter. They've got to get some positive offensive production.
McCallum kicks it away, and Don Blair at the Eskimo 50, and he's drilled right there.
And I think one of the things that's happened, Chris, is the fact that Edmonton has had good field position all going in the 2nd half. Saskatchewan hasn't.
November day.
Oh, Gainer the Gophers getting a mouthful from the bear over there.
The Saskatchewan fans have partied a lot this afternoon, but I think they're feeling a little anxious now. The 8-point lead looks precarious. 12:45 to go. An afternoon of football. Toronto over Montreal, and now Edmonton and Saskatchewan embroiled in this Western final. McManus on 1st down finds Blunt out of the backfield, but not much there. In fact, that's no gain on that completion.
That's a nice job of Ulmer picking up Blunt, coming out of the backfield, making the play, closing quickly, limiting the game to, as you said, 0, making it 2nd and long. You can see Danny's just checking. He knows. He's looking him off, but he wants to go to Blunt. Blunt's his release valve. Hits him, and Blunt has to come back to the football. Doesn't allow him to turn up the field.
McManus has good numbers, but he's down by 8. Here comes the blitz, and they just pick it up. Don Blair with some room to move. Up the sidelines to the Saskatchewan 40.
Well, we've seen this time and time again. Here you come with the blitz. They got the blitz coming right here. You see him at the bottom of your screen. Nice job, pushes Ulmer over here, but what happens over there when you got a blitz? You got to be tight man coverage. Sutton is playing off of Blair again. You can't play off that far. You got to be up there, because now if you miss a tackle, you better hope your safety, Ryan Carey, comes over as he does in that play, but that's too big of a gain to give up.
Former Calgary Dinosaur with 5 catches. 1st down, Edmonton. McManus moves the pocket. Bobby Gordon with the catch inside the 15.
Well, there he is again, Danny Mack, as he saunters back to the huddle. No emotion. People say, this guy never gets excited. He's not. You got to be excited to be a winner. Watch him. He just stands in a pocket, gets himself a little bit more room, looks for a clear throw, boom, hits Gordon on the run where the money should be. Big 1st down, tackled by Dale Joseph, but Edmonton is on the move again.
26 yards to Robert Gordon, 22 yards on the previous play. Jurison and the Riders try to dig in. McManus looking into the end zone, Eddie Brown, and it's knocked down by McMillan, who recovered, and now he'll engage in the discussion with Brown. Remember, Brown, after the touchdown score, taunted the Saskatchewan DBs.
Well, there should never be any love lost anyway. These guys shouldn't be your brothers. You should hate them on the field. But watch this. He throws the ball up. Now, as you said, Todd McMillan lost him. That is interference. They got away with a call right there. You cannot contact the receiver. His hands are all over him. If Eddie Brown had a wallet, Todd McMillan would have it right there.
Instead, it's 2nd and 10. A lot of steamboats. Now McManus into the end zone for Gordon, and he throws it out of bounds. And McMillan was in on the coverage again.
And as you say, Chris, a lot of Mississippis there. A lot of steamboats. He's got all day to look his receivers off. He's got 1, 2, 3 looks. He can go all over the field. He looks to the right, nothing there. Looks to the middle, nothing there. Rolls to the left, sees a guy and tries to get him. Give Todd McMillan credit on this play because he does a nice job of staying with Robert Gordon.
Gordon with the big catch that got them into field goal range, but this Edmonton offense has not been able to put it through here in the second half. Speaking of putting it through, Sean Fleming has to change his numbers. And Fleming has one, and it's now a 5-point game. 9:41 to go in the 4th quarter of the Western Final.
Coverage of the 85th Grey Cup Championship from Edmonton begins next Sunday at 5 Eastern. That, of course, follows Grey Cup Saturday. An hour pregame show and the Grey Cup Parade. Should be a fantastic weekend here in Edmonton. The Argos home and cooled out and waiting to see who will it be, Saskatchewan or Edmonton from the west. Chris?
And our confrere, Chris Walby, played in the 1984 Grey Cup game here at Commonwealth Stadium. Gain of 1 for Mike Saunders.
And that was a party. That was a celebration. The old days of Tommy Clements, Dieter Brock. But this is a present. And this is Saunders, as you can see. Benny, good stuff on the offensive line, which causes Mike Saunders to reroute where he wants to go and limits that gain.
1-yard offense in the second half. They made it look so easy in the opening 2 drives of the game. But they've hit a wall. 2nd down, over the middle, incomplete.
And as you say, Chris, yes, they only have 1 yard. And what's that happen? What has happened as a result? It's Edmonton has made adjustments. They've made the right things to do. Willie Pless again with another play. Watch this. Drops back, running along, sees the receiver, comes right in there, doesn't allow the receiver to come back and turn his body fully to catch the football.
5 possessions for Saskatchewan in the second half, and 5 times Paul McCallum has had to come on and punt the football away. Gizmo back in the game. And this one just bounces out at the Saskatchewan bench at the 45. 8:40 to go. Wheels are turning on either side. 8:40 left. You've been in this position. 5 points. Both teams that close to a Grey Cup appearance.
This is where tension can really make or break a player because of the fact that you're saying, please don't let it be me that makes a mistake. Let me be the one that makes the great play. And that's what's going to happen here on either side of this football.
Danny McManus looking for Eddie Brown. And Brown with plenty of room. Patrick Burke moves up to bring him down. He's into Saskatchewan territory. 13-yard gain.
Well, Danny Mack recognizes what they're doing. If they're going to run a zone on one side or a little bit of man coverage, what he's going to do is just going to run different routes, have guys do crossing routes. Eddie Brown fakes like he's going inside, comes back to the outside, makes a nice catch, but they are playing off the receiver still. And you cannot do it. Don't play conservative at this time of the year, this time of the game.
You can just tell that Eddie Brown wants the football. Out of the shotgun, McManus to Eddie Brown. McMillan there to toss him down. Close to a first down at the Saskatchewan 43.
And this is where inexperience takes over. Todd McMillan, a rookie. You're sitting there. You're right where the coach says to go. Make sure you're in the area. Make sure you get to your drop. but what happens is you play the area you're supposed to be in rather than play the route that's coming at you. Eddie Brown goes in front of him, makes the catch, then McMillan reacts. Instead of McMillan reacting to seeing and recognize the pattern before it comes.
3 times he had 100-yard games during the regular season. Brown hits the century mark this afternoon. 1st and 10, rush on. McManus steps up, looking deep for Blair, and it's knocked down by Dale Joseph as McManus stretches the Saskatchewan defense.
Just a nice job, nice coverage. Danny Mac, nice throw. We're only the receiver and catch him. Watch Bobby Jurison, Greg Clark coming on a rush. Chris Morris doing an excellent job keeping him out of the play. Nice job by the offensive line. Watch this throw. Only one. Nice job by Dale Joseph getting his hand in there. Trying to stretch the defense. It's a good thing. Throw deep, then come back with something underneath now. Make those defensive backs fear the long ball.
2nd and 10. McManus looking for Flutie, and he's got the football at the 32, and that is close to another 1st down.
Well, we just talked about this. If you're going to stretch it long, your defensive backs, your corners, Patrick Burke in this case, is going to play off a little bit. The biggest fear is to get beat deep. He just cuts it off, makes a nice catch, picks up 9 yards, and they're going to measure for a 1st.
Darren Flutie has been bothered by a tender hamstring throughout this season, and you saw him stretching out after the catch, and it'll be that close.
Well, you can see Danny Mac's got all kinds of time. The offensive line of Edmonton's really stepped up and done a great job. There's hardly been any pressure right now on him, and if he gets that kind of confidence and that kind of time, he's going to find receivers, and it allows him to do the things that he needs to do to be successful, and he's doing them all right now.
It is 3rd down, and the Eskimos have already turned it over once on downs at the goal line, but that was 3rd and a full yard. Fans getting on their feet here, over 40,000 at Commonwealth Stadium. The Eskimo bench asking them to sit down because they didn't want to upset the cadence of McManus, and they do have the 1st down.
Well, 6 minutes left in the game. The drive continues. They've just eaten the clock up. They have not allowed Saskatchewan to get anything done offensively this whole 2nd half, and they, in turn, have taken the ball, not come away with a whole lot of points, but eaten the clock and found success with certain plays.
1st rushing 1st down of the game for the Eskimos. What a warrior Bobby Jurison is. McManus over the middle, almost picked by Greg Clark off the shoulder pad, and it falls incomplete.
Well, we've seen Greg Clark. We've talked about all the linebackers, the depth they get. Earlier, Gary Rogers should have had an interception. This time, Greg Clark saying, God, I should have had that one. Goes right in his hands, right off his shoulder pads, looking for the ball. You see right there, he misses it. We're going to have to make him do some drills after. Some ball catching drills, but he's just happy it didn't allow a completion.
2nd and 10 from the Saskatchewan 31. McManus, Brown, and Eddie Brown cutting back, lost some yards, and not going to get to the 1st down stick. 8 on the gain for Brown, and now it's 3rd and 2.
Well, they got to go. They're going to have to go for a field goal here. And as you said, Eddie Brown tried to make something happen there. He tried to get to the outside. As a result, he lost yardage. Sean Fleming walked onto the field.
4:49 to play. And a 5-point differential, so this will get them inside a field goal if Fleming is good.
Well, the guy that we've talked about missing 2 earlier ones could very well end up being the hero of the day if this continues, with field goals being the only way that he can score right now.
From the 30. And Sean Fleming's now on target. He's hit 2 in a row, and now they're within a field goal of taking the lead.
They've gotten away from the options, the rollouts, the play action, all the things they did in the first half, all the things they did against you last week in the semifinal.
Yeah, that's true, and I think it's very important right now that they come out and try to get a first down to get some momentum back because they really lost it right now.
First down, pumped by Slack, looking deep for Narcisse, and it's out of bounds, incomplete. Davis Reed.
Well, we like
coverage again.
Chris, we like the fact that they're going to Narcisse. They haven't, as Danny Barrett and Mark Lee alluded to, they haven't gone to the guys that have gotten them here. They haven't gone to Mayfield since the first half. Saunders carried the ball once, got a first down. They've got to start going, but I don't know if necessarily they have to go for the home run. I think what you should do is use the clock for Saskatchewan now, pick up first downs rather than trying to get it all back in one shot.
I was going to kid Danny Barrett. Maybe they should call that play to Pee Wee Smith, and in fact, Reggie Slack did go to the home run ball. He's missed on his last 6 attempts. 2nd and 10. Looking downfield again, and Narcisse, or Mayfield, what a catch. Well, boy, Saunders and Mayfield in the same neighborhood.
We talked about this. You got to go to who's hot. Last week, Curtis Mayfield had a great game. He started off just where he left off against the Eskimos today, having a great day. Now they go back to the money man. This is what you got to do.
That's a huge catch when Saskatchewan needed it the most. 35 yards, and now they're at the Edmonton 40. Trying to add to a 2-point lead, Mike Saunders, and Saunders has close to 5.
A good job. We just talked about it. We don't want to reiterate, but you have to. 3-minute warning coming up. Nice thing by Saunders. Give him the ball. Delayed. It's recognized. Watch Willie Plesh right here. He sees it. They've run it a few times today. He knocks the O-line, Ben Fairbrother, out of the way to make the play. That's just experience, but they still picked up 5 yards on it, and that limits, or that allows them to go to more things for 2nd down.
3-minute warning being given to the benches in the West Final. The completion of Mayfield has it in field goal range for Paul McCallum, but they'd like to bite off a little bit more. Quarterback keeper, and Slack's going to be short.
It's going to be close, though. It's going to be close. But a good call. They were hoping to get a big rush that Edmonton was going to bring everybody in the kitchen sink against Reggie, and he'd find his seam and be able to exploit that, much as he did last week against Calgary. But this time, they closed it quick. 3rd and 2, and they got to go. Here's Paul McCallum trying to add 3 to Saskatchewan's total.
Kevin Mason is the holder. 40 yards for Paul McCallum. And he misses to the right side. And Gizmo's coming out. And Gizmo won't get beyond the 10, so it's still a 2-point lead. Well, we've got a quarterback with us, Danny Barrett. Let's analyze Reggie Slack's last play call.
Well, basically, I think Reggie did a good job there, but it's the only formation they run the quarterback draw out of. And I'm sure Edmonton scouted that play. Maybe a better call or another call would have been trying to get Saunders isolated on one of the linebackers and go one-on-one.
So instead, they went for 3 and come away empty with 2:26 to go. Did you like Gizmo's decision, Chris Walby, to run it out?
Well, I think so. I think, hey, listen, the way they've been moving the ball, they have moved it from all parts of the field. It only takes one to put them in field goal position on the bomb, so let's do what they're doing.
Playing to win, and McManus going deep for Brown, and he had to turn the other way. That time, Patrick Burke wins the battle. Well, the war wages on.
And Chris, just as we talked about, Danny Mack was going for the home run to Eddie Brown. Eddie Brown and him got a little mixed up as far as where it was going to end up. Ended up an incompletion, but they got Eddie Brown, and they're going after Patrick Burke, who is going down now, complaining of a cramp.
And they're checking with Burke, and he is going to have to come out.
And this is a really, really tough situation because of the fact that if they take him out, as you say, he's got to go out for 3 plays. You've got to bring another backup in. Might be Jason Mallett. Now, who do you go after?
Well, McMillan will likely come out to the corner for Burke, and you've got Mallett coming in as an extra DB, getting a last word from Greg Marshall. And this is as big a play in the game as we've seen today. 2nd and 10 from inside the Eskimo 10.
And the thing that happens, as you say, it's not a simple switch, one man for one man. Now they have to adjust everybody else. As you put other people covering certain people, you haven't got the experience of what the receivers have been doing to you. Now you're covering different things, or your responsibilities are different. This is where a breakdown can occur.
Continues to get attention. This has been like a prize fight where one of the fighters has been battered around the ring, but he won't go down, and Saskatchewan's been like that in the second half, clinging to the lead despite the obvious domination by the Eskimos in time of possession in the second half.
Well, you're right, big time. You look at that first half, 16-13, second half. Edmonton swings it around in their favor, 17 minutes to 10 minutes. And they've just been moving the ball. They've had great play selection by the Edmonton offense. They've been eating the clock. That's one thing that might work against them, the fact that they've used the clock and haven't come away with big scores. They've had to settle for singles and field goals. And right now, as you say, this is the biggest play with 2:20 left on the clock for the Edmonton offense right now.
Eddie Brown waits. Toronto waits. What a game that was. The East Final, a classic. Pinball Clements with the winning touchdown in the late going, and the Argos will get a chance to defend their Grey Cup championship here at Commonwealth Stadium next Sunday. Only the second game ever, Grey Cup game ever played here at Commonwealth, and the Eskimos trying to be the host team on their home turf.
Well, one of the guys I was talking to, Rod Knopf, mentioned to me one of the things that they hate about not being in the Grey Cup is you got to give up your locker. That's a piece of your property, and you got people coming and living in your room, your house. It's like you live in your house. Look around, everybody. Look at your furniture, your walls, everything you got hanging on your... You don't want anybody else coming in there, laying in your lazy boy, opening your fridge, eating your Fritos. No, sir. And that's what they want.
That's what added insult to injury when the last Grey Cup the Eskimos won at McMahon Stadium, and they occupied the Calgary Stampeders dressing room. Here we go, 2nd and 10. McManus from his goal line, incomplete. For Don Blair with 2:16 to go, they'll have to punt it away.
And a good job by Ryan Carey recognizing that, seeing the inside route, the receiver trying to come back to the football, Donnie Blair. They've been going there successfully because the corner's been playing off. He comes over, cheats up, and allows it not to be a completion. Now Edmonton has to punt the ball, and now even more pressure is put on Saskatchewan's offense to try and eat some of that clock.
Move them up now.
Sean Fleming from his own end zone. Shannon Baker. And Baker chased out at the 54. 2:07 remaining. Fourth quarter, a 44-yard punt.
And I don't agree with Baker what he just did there. You've got the lead. I know you're not going to need a lot of time off, but don't run out of bounds. Go upfield, see what you can. I know you're worried about fumbling the football, but keep the clock running. I know it stops on change, but you can still eat some of the clock off, and that's what they want to do. Every second is important at this stage of this game.
And every point precious. Reggie Slack, they can put points on the board now. Ron Lancaster's Eskimos are really up against the ropes. Ideally, Slack would love to chew up the final 2 minutes. Sean Daniels, look at Daniels with a burst off the left side. He was here in '89 as a member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, you can see the Saskatchewan bench is all up. Everybody's on their feet. There shouldn't be anybody standing or sitting in the house right now. Great call. They're all looking for Saunders. Give it to Daniels, off tack to the left side. He rambles for a first down.
Late in the game against Calgary last week, Daniels did just that. And now, Saskatchewan moving into field goal range. Clock running. Daniels again. Awkward on the handoff from Slack, but down to the 40-yard line. Gain of 3.
Pick up a 3 yards, as you said, but it uses the clock. This is what they want to do. Use the clock in your cadence now. When you go up, you got 20 seconds to get the ball. Don't snap the ball with 7 seconds left. Use the full clock. As you said, every second counts.
Here we go. 2nd and 7, Saskatchewan. Sean Daniels, and Daniels down to the 31 has a first down. 2 big first downs for the fullback.
Well, you want to talk about the offensive line. These boys are earning their pay today because everybody in the house knows you're going to run the ball. You're not going to take a chance on throwing it now. You're in scoring zone. They give it to him. The offensive line comes off the ball. Melvin Hunter has to come from the opposite side of the field to make the play.
1:10 to go, and the clock ticking away on the Edmonton Eskimos. First down, Slack, keeper, and Slack down to the 26, and a penalty on the play. Looks like it could be a face mask against the Eskimos, the least penalized team during the regular season. And remember, today they've had a punt return called back.
Face mask. Edmonton number 89. First down.
Well, this is a game breaker right here. I'm going to tell you what. Watch Reggie. He's going to come back inside. Leroy grabs the mask. He tries to hold him up. Here's a guy that would never do anything to hurt his team, but unfortunately, out of reaction, strictly reaction and adrenaline, sticks his hand out there to try and prevent Reggie from running. Takes a 15-yarder. First down for Saskatchewan with 55 ticks left.
Sean Daniels again waiting for him that time and drilled back. 52 seconds left, and the Eskimos will be calling a timeout either now or after the next play.
Well, this is where you're going to use Saskatchewan. We talked about it. You're going to beat it into him right now. Don't snap the ball early. Play smart football right here. Go with the plays that are safe. Don't do anything that'll put you in a situation where you'll turn the football over.
Oh, they sense the upset now. Although in that Rider camp, you'd never use the word upset. Here's Slack again, keeping it. Slack still going. Touchdown, Reggie Slack.
Well, forget you can throw the 89 season out the window. Now they'll talk about the 97 season.
McCallum, a critical extra point, and it's now 31-22. 26 seconds to go. And a dormant offense for most of the second half awoke just in time to put it away.
You've got 54 seconds left of the clock against Calgary. What does Reggie Slack do? He runs the option, keeps it himself, scores a touchdown. You got 28 seconds or 29 seconds left on the clock today. What does Reggie Slack do? What a surprise. Runs the option, keeps the ball, through effort of his own, scores the touchdown.
His second major score of the game.
And he does this on his own. This is great. Watch this stretch right here. I'm not going to be denied. He smells it. Watch the bench here. They are hugging. There's a whole lot of room here. There's excitement here. They almost a look of disbelief. It's happening. A lot of guys with some extremely good verticals.
Well, the weight of trying to win one to get a chance to play on your home field in the Grey Cup game. It's been one the Eskimos have handled most of the year, but today it's become too much.
Well, here's a time when the Saskatchewan defense can play conservative. Play your prevent. Don't give the big one. Let them eat the clock up. Let them do what they want to do underneath. It'll work against them. And even if they do score, make it be a long time between that and when they get the ball back again.
The Eskimos finished first. The Roughriders were 8-10. McManus looking deep, looking for Eddie Brown. Tip to Gordon. Bobby Gordon down to the 1. 11 seconds to go. 58 yards. The last gasp.
Well, I don't know if this is what you call prevent defense. I think there's a little bit of volleyball background in Eddie Brown. That is a heads-up play. He can't make the catch. He pops it up. Johnny in a spot. Robert Gordon catches it and runs. And you know Ryan Carey is hanging on for dear life right there.
Well, can you score, execute the short kickoff, and get a field goal in 11 seconds? Gizmo leaps, touchdown. 7 seconds on the clock. The Edmonton Eskimos own the football in the second half, but they weren't able to put it in when they needed to the most.
Well, don't turn off the sets yet, people, because I tell you what, anything can happen with 7 seconds. As you say, if you can get a short kickoff and don't catch the football, knock it out of bounds. It will stop the clock. You'll have at least one play to try and get a field goal range.
Clock won't run in this convert situation. Here's Vic Stevenson. He was on the 89 Saskatchewan Roughriders and now is on the other side of the fence. Going for 2. And Flutie has it. It's a 1-point game. And we're down to a kickoff.
Well, let's take a look at Sean Fleming. I tell you, here's the guy. He's going to have to do it now.
Yes, go. Let's go, baby.
Cal Murphy, the special teams coach, gets his hands team together.
And what he's saying, Chris, is don't let anybody run free. Block them up. As soon as that ball is kicked, go and attack somebody. Let the people that are going to catch the ball from behind you, behind the first line, recover it, fall down on it. It's over. One play.
Knocking it out of bounds, clock won't run, and Cal Murphy telling his team not to let them do that. So it's down to this for Ron Lancaster. This would be the miracle of all comebacks. Fleming to kick it, hoping he gets a chance to kick again today. Jump ball. Mayfield. And does he have it? Mayfield comes up with it. A guy who has played a key role all day has the football. A punt return for a touchdown, a critical catch late in the fourth quarter, and now he has cinched it for Saskatchewan.
Well, here's a guy who's done it every way. If they ask to line up a defensive end, that'd be the only way other way he can contribute to this team, but he does it on special teams, punt return, receiving, key receptions, and here, probably the most important game of the year for the Saskatchewan, or most important play of the year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Takes the onside kick, and now they just have to down the football, and as they say, they're going to the Grey Cup.
Battered and bruised. There's Rod Conop that played one more year for a chance to play next week at home, and he'll have to sit in the stands and watch. It's big city against big country in the 1997 Grey Cup game as the Saskatchewan Roughriders get set to run it out.
And I remember being in this situation. There's nothing nicer. This is so great because this is the one game you have to get to go to the Cup. And it's phenomenal. The champagne popping. Your adrenaline's going. You just can't believe it. You get to come out early next week and enjoy some of the festivities that will go on in Edmonton. Congratulate. What a great game.
And the spirit of '89 continues to live on for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Reggie Slack, a couple of weeks ago, the brunt of so much criticism. No quarterback's been ever able to live up to the legend of Ron Lancaster in Saskatchewan, but Reggie Slack is writing quite a script, isn't he?
Well, I just think it's unbelievable what he's done. And as you said, I've played with him, and I've always believed that Reggie Slack has been a winner. He's persevered through some hard times. He's persevered through some controversy in Saskatchewan, where they were always calling for a quarterback change or creating a quarterback controversy. And here he is, perhaps his finest hours the last two football games, and he's riding a wave of momentum going into the Grey Cup.
There's Derek McCready, maybe his last game today, out in defeat. Let's join Steve.
Chris, I'm with Reggie Slack of the Riders. Reggie, do you believe in miracles?
I do now. We shocked the world. I don't think anybody gave us a chance last week. Nobody gave us a chance this week. We're going to the Cup.
Reggie, based on what happened to the offense in the second half, did you really start to doubt yourself?
No, I don't think there was any doubt. We just knew we had to get some first downs. We had to move the football. And, you know, Edmonton, they were coming. Their offense was clicking in the second half. And, you know, we knew our defense held tough, though. They gave them a few points, but they kept it under 24, and we came out. We made the plays when we had to.
Reggie, late in the fourth quarter, you did indeed make the plays that you had to. What adjustments did you make?
Well, we just knew we had to run the ball at them. We had to take it to them. We had to get myself involved in the running game, and we did that down on the goal line, and I was able to take it in for the score.
A couple of touchdowns, big touchdowns last week. You really got it going when you had to.
Oh, this is the time of year when you got to come to play, and I think everybody in our locker room came to play, and now we're going to get rewarded for it.
I know you haven't allowed yourself to look ahead to the Grey Cup game against the Toronto Argonauts. Some thoughts on that?
Well, actually, I didn't even know Toronto beat Montreal, but
they did.
They did. You know, we're going to enjoy this win for the next day, and then prepare to go out and play Toronto. We played them twice this year. We beat them once. So we feel like we have an excellent opportunity to bring it all home to Regina.
Reggie, thanks for doing this. Good luck in the Grey Cup game.
Thank you very much.
Reggie Slack, the quarterback for the Riders. With me now, the defensive veteran, Bobby Jurison. Bobby J, terrific effort out there. The defense is under a lot of pressure for a long time.
Well, I tell you what, we never find the easy way to get the job done. We always make it interesting. The fans get their money's worth, and the offense came up big, and it was just a great day.
Bobby, you must have been doubting yourself at some point, looking at your offense and saying to yourself, we're doing the job, they got to get it done.
There was no doubt from the beginning. We knew we were going to win. It's just by a matter of how much and how hard we were going to make it on ourselves.
Another one for Rider Pride.
It's alive. It's alive.
Okay, look ahead to the Eskimos, or not the Eskimos, but the Argos, right here on this field next Sunday. Grey Cup 97.
I can't even see the tip of my nose right now. I'm going to enjoy the night, and I'll check it out tomorrow. But for now, I'm going to enjoy the victory.
Bobby Jurison, congratulations on a super effort.
Thank you very much.
Bobby Jurison, let's go over here. Hey, let's go and see if we can find Curtis Mayfield. Curtis, congratulations. What a great job.
Thank you. I mean, it's just a great win with all the stuff we've been through this year, all the adversity and stuff mid-season, and to finally get to, you know, what we were trying to get to, it's just great.
What was sweeter for you, the return for the TD or the catches you made, the clutch catches?
I think the clutch catches probably overshadowed the return because we really need those catches when I made them. And, you know, even though that was my first career punt return ever, I think the catches overshadow it.
You're going to the show.
I'm going to the show. First time ever.
Okay, Mark, back to you.
All right, Steve Armitage, and so the Grey Cup combatants have been decided. It'll be the Toronto Argonauts versus the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the 85th CFL title game next Sunday here in Edmonton. Do the Riders believe in destiny? The remake of the '89 Cinderella season continues. We're back right after this. Where the Riders continue to celebrate and savor their 31-30 win over the Edmonton Eskimos in the West Final. And the thousands of Saskatchewan fans who've traveled here still lingering, still enjoying the moment. Let's go down to the field now where Steve Armitage is standing by with Saskatchewan head coach Jim Daly.
Thank you very much, Mark. For the second week in a row, you have stunned the experts, sir.
Well, I don't know if we stunned the experts, but we played well, and we played good football, and I guess I'd say this, for the second week in a row, the fans of the CFL got their money's worth. 2 last-minute wins, and that's about 10 we've had this year of wins or losses in the last minute. Fans watching the game or attending here as this huge crowd in Edmonton got their money's worth.
Jim, to take nothing away from the Eskimos defense, you must have been a little bit concerned about your offense in the second half.
Well, you know, we've had some struggles at times throughout the year. Every offense does. And, you know, we just knew by Reggie on the bench when he went between series this was going to get done. There's no panic in the men. There's no panic in our players. And to be honest with you, the Edmonton defense really shut us down in the third quarter and early fourth. But we were narrowing down our short list, and we knew what we needed to come back to, and Reggie came back to it, and Reggie executed that long, nice pass to Mayfield that only ended up getting us 1 on the missed field goal, but as it turns out, that's the margin of victory. And then at the end, when we had the great stop by the defense, 2 and out, got the ball marched, and Reggie ran it in. We ran a lot of time off the clock, got the 7. It was a great effort all around. Defense, at the end of the first half, saved us 3 points minimum with that Sutton interception. The defense stopped them here, and we got the ball back and ran the ball in. Pretty good team effort, an unbelievable effort from both teams. There's 70 players here that deserve a lot of credit.
Jim, congratulations on a great job. Good luck
Thank
in
you.
the Grey Cup.
Thank you.
Now let's go upstairs and join the 2 Chris's, guys.
Steve, I'm just wondering, are they going to let those fans just stay in those seats until next Sunday? Because they would if they were allowed to, I think.
Well, you know, if this was the last game of the year, I bet they were trying to take some of these seats home on the plane with them. But what a great game. I mean, all the guys had all the intangibles of it. You know, he had Mayfield catches, clutch catches, the punt return for a touchdown. But I think a guy that's going to get a lot of credit for this, not only Reggie Slack, but Sean Daniels keeping the drive alive with those 2 big runs.
Absolutely. You know, Edmonton, I thought, totally dominated the second half, and quite frankly, I thought it was only a matter of time before Edmonton took the lead in this game. But Saskatchewan's been resilient all year. They've faced a lot of adversity. They had to remake their defense with the McGriggs and KD Williams thing that happened midway through the season, and they don't seem to mind that word underdog.
Well, I think one of the things is there's a key phrase that says, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And I think, as you say, they went through so much garbage in the offseason. They had to restructure their defense, do different things on their offense, but you always want to peak at the right time. And right now, people, Saskatchewan is peaking.
Yeah, shades of 89, as we've mentioned. The stars seem to be in the right alignment. Just a quick look ahead to Toronto, because they've split the games. When Saskatchewan plays well, they play with anybody.
Well, I think that's what they do. And I mean, one of the things they're going to do is they're going to enjoy, they're going to get down there, and they're going to have to watch pinball, and they're going to have to watch Drummond, and they're going to have to watch Mitchell. I could go on and on. But I think, seriously, Toronto's going to have to take Saskatchewan seriously because they are for real.
Absolutely. Mark?
All right, Chris, history is repeating itself in more ways than one. Danny Barrett, how about Reggie Slack calling the same play in the same game that he called 2 weeks ago with a touchdown to salt the victory?
You're exactly right, and you got to take your hat off to Reggie. He played well at the end of the game. He started the game strong. He finished the game strong. And what more can you say? You look at the play here. He comes out, makes a good read to tuck it up inside, not try to pitch it. And he just fights his way into the end zone. I think he breaks, 3-4 tackles here, gets the ball into the end zone, and the celebration is on.
It's a carbon copy of the touchdown he scored to beat your Stampeders 1 week ago. They're calling Reggie Slack Mr. November, and with good reason. as his Riders beat the Eskimos by 1 point. We're back after.